Happy swing month. This is the swing month. It's the swing week of the swing month of the year, which means this is the year when everyone says, "This is my year. Amazing things are going to happen. I'm going to do my goals. I'm going to be a new person." And by this week in January, and we all know the statistics, right? 92% of the world has said, eh, that sounded good on January 1st, but it's too hard. It's a lot of work changing. Joe Dispenza says the hardest habit is breaking up with being the old version of ourselves and showing up, right, as the self that we want to be this year. But you all are not that group. You all are in the 8%. You all are the ones who've said, actually, I do what I say. I mean what I do. I am one of the leaders that leads from vision, not from do what do I feel like, what feels easy, what is the, familiar, the comfort zone. So I'm so honored that we are going to have these 2 days together. We get to have an extraordinary time and we get to do some really powerful, big leap kind of work together, not only to move your book projects, your thought leadership, your impact, and your legacy forward, but also to become that more self-actualized version of yourself, right? That's what we actually, the book and the thought leadership and the revenue generation and the impact generation are mechanisms to have us find out what we're really made of. Does that resonate with anybody? Does this feel like yes to you, that you know that this is an important week? It's an important week to walk our talk. I call it living the work, right? And when we say, I've set out to do something big this year to make a difference in people's lives, to let people know and have the visibility so they know I'm here to serve them in the ways that I have been called to serve, to really make the impact, the abundance, and the powerful game-changing force that you came here to affect, not only on the planet, but for this year in particular in 2026. And if you're into, the Chinese New Year coming up and looking at the fire horse, that's big energy, right? And we're just preparing for that in these few days. So I just want to know who's fired up with me. If you are, put F in the chat that you're fired up. You're fired up to bring it, to play big this next 2 days so that we can do incredible work together, that we can move your vision forward and you can help change the lives of the people you're here to change. So I'm super excited about it. If I haven't had the pleasure and privilege of working with you before, I'm Sarah Cannell. I am the founder of the 90-Day Bestseller, of Thought Leader Academy, the Monetize Your Book Club, all the incredible things that we do together to make sure that authors and coaches and entrepreneurs and people who are masterful at what you do find your way to the people whose lives you're here to transform and even save, right? Anyone else ever know that this work is a life-saving mission? Yeah, and I don't say that to be, in hyperbole. I don't say that to, just be dramatic. Many of you know my story. A book saved my life about 22 years ago. And so I know how powerful this is. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And we are going to go through, we have a workbook for you. We are going to roll up our sleeves. Let's all do that as a gesture, get our bodies into it. We're going to roll up our sleeves so that we can, whatever point you are, whether you're just thinking about maybe doing a book or you are full on underway in a book project, that you are going to take a quantum leap forward in these next 48 hours, right? You get to take a quantum leap forward in not only this book, but the trajectory of where you go with the rest of your career and your life. If you are unmuted, if you could just mute while you're not sharing. If you're not sharing, just because we are recording this, a lot of people are going to be watching this via replay, and we want to make sure we have a non-feedback line, clean recording. Okay, so thank you so much for that. All right, so let's take a deep breath, maybe close your eyes. Let's just get centered. If you want to roll your shoulders or move your neck from side to side. We're a brain science-based coaching company, which means that we bring in the somatic, we bring in the body, mind, the energy to this work. We work on a conscious and a subconscious level. And so go ahead and just set your intention. What's going to make these 2 days a huge win for you? If you want to put your hands on your heart, if that feels good, you could do your belly, your hips, just really come into this now moment, letting go of everything outside, everything coming up later today, and allowing yourself to come fully into this moment and get exactly what you need from it. So I just affirm each of you have breakthroughs, huge progress, and tremendous success from what you create here. And we see these books as done, as successful, as impactful, as transformational. We affirm that your success in this work is assured. Yes, I love this. Lori's like, I already have my chapters and intro in place. I'm ready to write this book. All right, Lori, I love it. I love it. So, wherever you are in the journey, this workshop will meet you at that place. I will customize it for you. And I'm going to go ahead and get into, I like to teach with visuals because some of us learn by seeing, some of us learn by hearing. So, we're going to use both. And we are recording this. You will get the replay and you will get the workbook as well. All right. So, I'm going to pull up our work today. And some of you that have trained with us before, the first little bit that we're going to do will be a review. And I'm going to show you how to make that impactful for yourself. And some of you that are here for the first time and have never worked with us before are going to get the foundation of what we're doing here. Okay. So let's get these up where we can see them and jump into it. All right, this is going to take just a second to load. And when it does, if any of you who are on camera could give me a thumbs up if you're able to see, we're getting this kind of force quit situation that we're going to do. Thank you, Rebecca and Carla. I need to just get that out of the way. Hopefully, if we have any technical difficulties, we'll swing back around. All right, download your best-selling book. I'll explain a little more what that means. If you're new to us, why download? We are not downloading from AI. We are not doing a write a garbage AI book in an hour. I know a lot of people teach that now. I do not. I don't believe in it. We are going to use AI to expedite and help us, but we're not going to outsource our creativity and our genius to AI, right? So in that way, we're going to use it, not defer to it. All right. So again, if you haven't met me, I've shared with you, just to let you know, I have written now 6 consecutive best-selling books. It was 5 and 6 bestsellers in a row. I'm writing my 7th book, which comes out in October this year. And I say that because I'm right here in the trenches with you, right? I'm not someone who's just, edited books or thought about books. Like, I'm a writer just like you are. I'm a thought leader just like you are. And I've done this a few times and coached over 1,000 people to hit the bestseller list with their books, make impact, become thought leaders. So I'm letting you know I'm doing this work, I'm living the work, and I'm right in it in my final revisions of the current book. So I am not going to be up on the mountain saying, oh, I've heard of these. I'm right here. I feel the feelings. I've got the same fears. I've got the same insecurities. Each book is a new project. It's a new mountain to summit, and it does get easier, but it doesn't take away, all the pieces. So we're going to address our emotional selves. Put E in the chat if that feels good to you, that we're not going to have to leave that out. If you get gremlins while we're going along, we're going to address them. Gremlins are the inner critic, those worries, fears, imposter syndrome. I don't have time. I don't have any of, all the stuff, right? All that's welcome here, where we embed that into the journey. Okay. So like I said, I'm the founder of the 90-Day Bestseller, the Monetize Your Book Club, our Thought Leader Academy. And the 90-Day Bestseller is, as the title suggests, where people come to work with us, with our team, with our editors, and get their book done in 90 days to 6 months, depending on their preferred timeline. And then the Monetize Your Book Club is, what do we do once we have a book, even while we're writing, to leverage that book for speaking engagements, attracting clients, strategic partners, being on podcasts and in the media, all kinds of things that we'll talk about this week. And these go hand in hand because we want to write the book and then we want to make sure the book does what we want it to do, right? So we're going to be embedding, this is the foundational curriculum for those of you that are doing the 90-Day Bestseller with us. What we're doing today and tomorrow is the foundation curriculum to start your work with your editor. So we're going to be pulling from both of these programs into our work together. The model that I love so much to make impact and revenue is write, speak, scale. Okay, write, speak, scale. We write a book, We'll talk about why that's so important. We then can use that book to open up opportunities to speak, and then we can scale our impact and our contribution and our financial abundance and our legacy in the world. Okay, so you can put WSC or WSS, excuse me, it's scale, WSS in the chat if that makes sense to you. If you are excited about the idea that not just doing a book and checking it off as a bucket list, but you're doing a book that is going to help you make an impact in many, many ways for the rest of your life. Yeah, right. Speak scale. Okay. So we have just opened this month applications for the 90-day bestseller. Some of you are here doing that curriculum, and we're so excited to be working with you. So we are specifically working with 10 thought leaders, 10 experts, 10 incredible visionaries who are committed to writing, finishing, and publishing your best-selling book in 2026. So those of you that already have applied and been accepted, amazing. I think we have really, we're waiting until this week. So I think there are 7 spots left. So if any of you are looking for, going all the way, for sure, you can think about that this week, and we will make those applications available to you. Before we do any of that, though, we need to get super grounded and anchored in who we're writing for, because the people you're writing for, the people you're here to serve, are going through stuff. Right? Put stuff in the chat if you already can feel it, because you're going through stuff too. People are going through stuff. And I'm just using stuff just to kind of make a little bit of a joke about it, but it's not a joke, right? This is a lot. People are under a tremendous amount of pressure, a tremendous amount of overwhelm, a tremendous amount of stress. There are unimaginable things happening in our world. There are challenges and opportunities and traumas and all kinds of things going on, right? So I just want to presence how many of you have already trained with us and done some of this foundational work. If you have, I want you to put confirm in the chat. Okay, so what you're going to do for this first part of our training today is you're going to be confirming what you know and what you've decided about your book so far. Okay, so if you're here, you're confirming. That's what you're going to be listening for in the first part. Those of you that have not done any training with us yet, you can put in identify. Okay, identify means you're going to be identifying your book idea, who you're writing for, how to make it about, like, you're going to be identifying those things for yourself. And both are really, really important. I need to hear things more than once, often, many times, in order for it to really lock in and for me to be able to develop some mastery with it, right? So some of us are confirming the first part of today, some of us are identifying, and we're all going to do work on our books. Okay, beautiful. So in 2026, here's what we know. If you traded with me earlier this month, you heard this before. Human beings are tasked with making 35,000 conscious decisions every day. 35,000. There's a lot of contracted fear about the world, economy, politics, all the things. And then there's a whole bunch of fear around AI and what that means for our future, or how to use it, or being afraid of all that, right? Okay, so there's a lot going on, all right? And it doesn't matter too much. Confirm, identify. We're all gonna anchor into this together. We also still have a trust recession, right? So buyers are not people that are investing in experts and help and coaches and courses and all those things. Don't trust ads. 95%, 84% of employees don't trust the leaders in their companies, and the public doesn't trust leaders. It's about 98%, and we all could get into why. And we're not going to take over our whole 2 days because we got to write our books, right? But we've got, we've got these issues going on, trust issues at a global scale. So what are we going to do about that? And the great news is that even though people are afraid about AI and stressed, and they're also obsessed and all these things, the great news is that even in a world where people have a 2.9-second attention span, that's the statistic that started in the end of 2024. It is still true. It's probably gone down, right? 2.9 seconds of it. That's how much people can focus. That's how much we can focus before we get distracted with something on a phone, a notification, and whatever it is. 2.9 seconds. And even though people are worried what's real, what's not, because of all the things, and even more because of AI, we can create a trust ascension that surpasses what has ever happened before this year. We can do it individually and collectively by being the leaders or brands or companies or authors that focus on being the real deal, adding true value, and bringing real creativity and innovation. That's what is like, not just deferring to what everyone else is doing, derivative thinking, AI, like by truly, truly being willing to take a stand and be visible and share something real, right? That is the huge differentiator. One of my coaches calls it separation season, right? It's like, right? Are you willing? So put W in the chat, those of you that are willing. And I know if you're here today, I know you wouldn't even be here. You wouldn't be interested in this training. You wouldn't be doing it this way. You'd be writing your book in an hour with AI that you didn't even write while you go drink coffee and, watch Netflix, which is, I'm not judging it. I'm just saying that's not what you're here for, because everyone can feel when something has a heartbeat, when something has a soul, whether it's an email, a social media post, whatever, right? We're willing to be the leaders that are going to actually go to the imaginal, their genius, their truth, their actual creativity. And then we can use the AI to speed it all up, right? So that's what my new book, The Download, is about. That's why we're calling this Download Your Best-Selling Book. It's not downloading from AI or the cloud. It's downloading from your genius, from your soul, from your unique big magic. And the good news is that in an environment like this, where people are scared, where they are overwhelmed, where they are distracted, that book sales exponentially explode yet again. Why? Just put in the chat one reason why you think people are turning to books more than ever, whether it's audiobooks, print books, ebooks. Why are people turning to books more than ever before, even when everything's automated, everything's so techy, and everything's so advanced? Yeah, Rebecca, because there's a realness. People can tell if it's an AI book, at least for now, and they're looking for answers and they're afraid. And it's a hunger for truth, Lisa. Yes. And it's a way for people to feel an actual connection with a human being in a way that's safe before they've spent $20,000, before they've spent a week of their life at a retreat, before it's a way for someone to get to know you and have intimacy in a way that feels safe to them. And when we're contracted, we want safety. Yeah. You all nailed it. Absolutely. Okay. So we are going to see growth in the billions of dollars in the book industry continuing to rise. And that's great for you, because this is what people are going to be looking for, to make sure you're real. It's a way to vet what's real, what's not. Okay. So we said people have a 2.9-second attention span. You can't read a book in 2.9 seconds. So how does this work? Well, for Mel Robbins and Gabby Bernstein and Martha Beck and Michelle Obama, and fill in your favorite person who did a book in the last year. Why do all these people who are already famous, who already, have big New York Times bestselling books, who already have huge audiences, who have top podcasts, why do they keep doing books? Because the brain can process a book cover in 1.8 seconds. It breaks the attention span barrier. So some of you have heard this many times, but I love this. I love science. I love data. And I love knowing that the brain can process a book cover in 1.8 seconds, because that's your flag in the ground. That's the reason when someone sees your name, your topic, okay, she wrote a book on it, he wrote a book on it, they wrote a book on it, I now know they have some kind of expertise. And if the title is something that I need, then I'm going to be motivated to find out, more from this person, and they're offering me the solution. Sometimes it's all it takes is them just seeing you have a book for someone to work further with you, right? You just know, oh, book equals expert, book equals authority, book equals real deal. Whether you think that should be, is that justified or not, but it is how we process in our brains and in our emotions. Okay. So it's the flag in the ground. 1.8 seconds, someone knows you, what you're about, and you become their person. Then we earn, right? What happens is you write a book, and then all these people that you think they don't need more attention, they don't need more visibility. Oprah doesn't need more people to know about her, but they still write books, because it's a reason to go and share the new message, the new movement you're here to lead on all the shows and the podcasts and the things, and get a conversation going and start the activity of that movement. Because books that start movements, right? Put M in the chat if you know your book is not, it's not just about the book, it's about the movement you're here to lead. Absolutely. That's the only way we teach it here, right? Those of you who are coming to the 90-day bestseller, you're starting a movement. You're writing a book that starts a movement. Yes, yes. And this can happen in any kind of book, as you'll see. Okay. So we're just kind of reviewing this, anchoring in it, getting it top of mind and present so that we're really bringing all the parts of ourselves into why this is so important. Okay. And like I said earlier, and some of you have heard this story many times, is that a book saved my life, not metaphorically, not in a symbolic way. Literally, the book Holy Hunger by a woman who's not famous, who's not a household name, who's not any of the women you saw on that screen, Mel Robbins or Oprah, but a woman who was willing to sit down and do what you're here to do and to share what she knew. And I found it in the Boston airport on a time when I was in a serious mental and physical health crisis, and it saved my life. Yeah. I love that, Terry. That's amazing. I love it. Terry's already working with us, and yes, I know the inspirations are coming. Okay. So I want your book in the airport bookstore on someone's day when they're circling the drain, right? Or whatever the equivalent. It might not be the airport bookstore. It might be the law office or the Ann's here, right? The insurance company or it's in the place where your person is when they need the lifeline. Even if you're writing something light and fun, this is still true, right? I need a laugh. I need a shift. I need to have a break. Okay. And the books open the doors. The books open the doors. So me, right. I after that book saved my life, I vowed that I would spend the rest of my life paying that gift forward. That's why I'm writing book number 7. And that's why I've helped over 1,000 people write books that have impacted people's lives because someone did it for me. And writing that first book and then the subsequent books have opened the doors to TEDx and Oprah and New York Times and getting to serve so many incredible people in our book writing programs so that the ripples continue. Yes, laughing is very good for stress. The more humor, the better, in my opinion, Miriam. I love it. Okay. So this is about the movement, right? And that has been the great honor of my lifetime and is to be with you all this week. So I want to talk about the doors that you want your book to open. Remember, you're either confirming if you've done training with me before, or you're identifying if this is new to you. And we're just going to do this quickly so we can get into all the new stuff for everyone. All right. But what doors do you want your book to open? Because we've got to have this clear in our minds so that we are always, like the Buddhist said, thinking from the end. We are reverse engineering, right? 3,000 years ago when the Buddha was teaching, he was not talking about reverse engineering using that term, but it's the same thing. It actually was ancient technology, right? What doors do you want your book to open? So again, if you're confirming, just make sure there's nothing that's changed in your vision. And if you are identifying, and it can be all of the above, like Christina, do you want to speak with your book? Do you want to be a guest expert in the media and inspire and transform people that way? Do you want to attract clients, increase revenue? Do you want to do awesome partnerships and collaborations with people that you love in your industry? Do you want to be known instead of someone that only the few people that you work with know that like other people know what it is that you do? You want to get your methodology to them as an industry leader and transform lives, build a legacy. So yes, just as Mary Jo and Christine and some of you, if you want all, put all, and Anna's in for all. And if there's certain ones that are really important to you, great. That's going to matter all today and all tomorrow. All today and all tomorrow, it's going to matter because we're going to keep coming back to every choice I make with what goes in this book, with what's in my outline, with how I'm going to monetize this book and leverage this book is all going to come back to, is it aligned? Is it putting me in the place to open these 7 doors? Yes. Awesome. Amazing. Okay. So our decisions determine our destiny. So the first step to becoming a best-selling author is to decide that you are going to, I say best-selling because bestseller just means it's all by volume. It means enough people read your book. And so bestseller is very exciting as an incredible accolade that you have for the rest of your life. But also it means enough people bought the book and read the book, right? So deciding, I'm just not giving you an opportunity to recommit or decide anew. If you're deciding, yes, I am going to do this. I'm not here for, a fantasy. I'm here to make this real. I'm going to write and publish and bring this book into the world this year, right? It's a destiny moment. And so put destiny in the chat if you are deciding that you are for sure. What's so beautiful about doing this in January is like your book can come out this year. Your book can be finished this year. It can come out this year. It can change lives. It can change your life. The books I've written have changed me. They've changed my life. They've changed my professional life, my finances, my community, my ability to serve people, the impact I get to have. And I'm so grateful when I get those emails and letters of people whose lives they've changed. And that's what you're on the path to do. Yeah. Awesome. Let's just take a breath into that. Just take a breath into that decision. Like give yourself a yes. Because becoming a bestseller isn't about talent and connections and all the things like in and of themselves. It's about deciding that you will do whatever it takes and go all the way because you've been called. The big magic has come to you, right? You wouldn't be here. That's why you're here. We could have called this the Big Magic Week, the Big Magic book writing workshop, right? Okay, so we're making the leap together. And most of you know the book that you want to write. We're not going to do a long involved because a lot of you did training with us earlier in the month. But if you're not sure, if you came today and you're contemplating multiple different books, I want to give you a lens to look through to help you decide on your one idea. After the next few minutes, we want you to have your one idea because we're going to be working on our books the rest of today and tomorrow. Okay, so we want to have one specific book we're working on. So is there anyone, and I just want to know so I know what to give you in terms of prompts. Is there anyone that's not sure about your book idea? You're coming today to just get clear. You're not sure which book you want to write. So put me in the chat if you're here to get clarity on a specific single book project. Okay. And many of you might have your one. Okay. So I'm going to give you, I I always have many books I want to write at the same time. Most visionary creative people there's lots of books in you. So the question is, which book are you going to write now in 2026 that's going to change your life and the world, right? All right. So I call this the whiteboard. We're going to just do a mini version, and then on the breaks and time later that we have, you can make sure that you're dialed in. I will make sure you get your one idea. All right. So what I do is I write down just a quick note of all the different ideas I'm considering. Are you thinking about a memoir and then a book about your business and a cookbook and a travel log? And what are the book ideas that you are considering? Okay, so I want everyone to take 1 minute. And if you already know the book that you're doing, I want you to spend this minute and just breathe and just pour success energy into that book. Okay. You're going to just use brain science to future pace that book. Those of you that aren't sure yet, just jot down the various ideas that you are considering. And then I'm going to invite you to put in the chat the number on your list. You have 3 ideas you're considering seriously. You have 2, you have 5. If you're down to 1, you can just put 1 and celebrate that you're clear. Okay. All right. So we've got a nice, beautiful variety. 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 1, 1, 2, 4. Beautiful. Okay. All right. So now what I want you to do to decide on your one that you're going to move forward with for the rest of our time together and this year, because you just did your decision moment, right? Think about your number one priority. Forget the books for a minute and think about your number one priority for this year. Is it revenue? Is it impacting a certain number of people? Is it visibility, like you're building your brand and people knowing about what you do? Is it bringing an important issue or mission or methodology to the world? What is your number one? This is for everyone, even if you're confirming you know your book, it's really good to remember what your number one. I know, Lori, that's the issue. Sometimes we're like, it's all of the above. Now, your book might do all of the above, right? But now I want you to look at the ideas you just jotted down and see if you can identify the front runner, the winning horse. Okay. Pretend it's a horse race and the horses are, Kentucky Derby, the horses are galloping around, and which horse is going to go in that circle and get the, I've never been to a horse race, roses around its rose necklace, whatever that is. I've seen pictures. Okay. Which is the winning horse? And it's the one that most directly, from what you know now, aligns with your number one goal. Which book most directly matches the goal that you have? So in years past, when my number one goal was working on the craft of writing, that year I wrote a collection of fiction stories. Okay, so my number one goal was my craft of writing. Another year, my goal was to grow our business, right? My goal was to really impact more people through our thought leadership work. And so I wrote the book Thought Leader Academy, right? The book about our thought leader methodology, because that was going to help and empower as many people as possible to avail themselves of our process and this work. Okay. So you've identified so you're going to look at which book idea most directly matches your number one priority right now. And then I always keep a little notes for other book ideas. I say, I love you. I will write you. Just this year, this is the one I'm focusing on. Yeah, Jeff, you're focused on health, happiness, and creativity. So look at your book ideas and say which of these books most directly is going to bring me health, happiness, and creativity. What's going to stimulate my creativity? Okay. Debbie, you're looking at income and visibility. So which book idea? So how many of you now have one idea? If you had multiple, how many of you now can see your fire horse, as Miriam said, since we're going into the year of the fire horse? Christina, you can see it. Anna, you can see it. You got it. You got it. Terry Ann, you've got it. Kimberly, awesome. If you don't keep going today. You're going to have it by the end of our time today. Okay, beautiful. So let's give each other some high fives, some heart hands, some way to go, maybe high tens, right? Knowing your book, a reason that stops probably 50% of people that want to write a book right now is because they go, I don't know, I could do this book, and then they do nothing. Has that been anyone ever? You have so many ideas. You can't even get, Rebecca feels me, right? I'm not the only one. Yeah, Debbie, that's happened to you too. It happened to me many times, right? So now we've solved that. Okay. You're ready to move forward. So deep breath in. Okay. Good job. Amazing. Now, let's go through this again quickly. Many of you have done this before, but let's just go through and do a confirm. And if you're identifying, again, we're going to have open time. If you're doing the VIP room with me, we'll work on it. If you're doing your own writing after our main session today, you'll have time to work on this. But I just want to show you, this is in your workbook. You're going to want to confirm or identify that your book idea combines these three things. Okay. Number one, top right, your passion and expertise. Okay. In some way, what you're writing about is like your passion and expertise is involved in that. You love it. You're obsessed. Yeah, Michelle, if you could drop the workbook again for anybody that needs it. You can focus on the visuals here now, and you can, have that too. But if you like to have it along with it, you're welcome to do so. Okay. Your passion and expertise. So put P and E in the chat if you're confirming or identifying that the book idea you just said, this is my front running, this is my winning horse, combines your passion and expertise. Great. You can see that it does. Yep. And again, your expertise can be your lived experience, it can be professional experience, anything in there. All right. Cool. Then we want to make sure our book, whatever kind of book we're writing, fiction, nonfiction, anything, that your book is helping readers solve a challenge or achieve a dream. This is true for a great book, a great talk, a great video, anything that we create, we want to be helping people solve a problem or achieve a dream in some way. Even in fiction, this applies because we're helping people learn about another person's experience or escape for a little while their reality that's feeling heavy, right? In what way is what you're bringing forth in your book going to help people solve a challenge or achieve a dream? And remember, a book doesn't have to solve the whole thing, right? So you think about a book like Dan Martell's Buy Back Your Time, very businessy kind of leadership book about basically, hey, here's how not to be doing tasks that are taking up all your time. Hire someone. It's a book that there's a million books like this, right? Hire a team. Who, not how, right? What's the problem they're helping people solve? I don't have any time. I'm dealing with admin. I'm overwhelmed. I'm trying to build a website when I'm not really a web designer. What's the dream? Freedom. So put C and D for challenge and dream if you can see the start, at least, of how what you're going to share in your book is going to help people solve a challenge or achieve a dream or a goal that they have, fulfill something for them. Yeah. Awesome. Yep. And then this bottom one is how we'll learn and do this together today, how your book topic is really urgent and important right now. Okay, so those of you that have trained with me before, we've gone deeper into this. I'm going to have an AI prompt for those of you that haven't, and you can get clear on this. This is really important for how you can leverage your book while you're writing. You can be a topic expert in the media while you're still writing. You can go out and speak while you're writing and publishing the book, because there's something right now that makes what you're writing about, even though it's always important, extra, extra, extra important right now. Okay. So if you don't know, then what you're going to do on a break or after we finish today, you're going to tell a GPT or Google, you're now a top book Random House marketer, and I want you to help me identify my best-selling book elements. And then you're going to have this prompt, and it's in your workbook. And it's just going to prompt either the AI or you can do a Google search. And basically, you're going to say, I'm writing a book about, insert your topic. You're going to describe your ideal reader. And you're going to tell it those elements of the three circles in the Venn diagram. This is my passion because, my expertise because. And then you could have it help you. Please identify the top problem I can solve or the dream or goal I can help my reader achieve based on my topic and expertise. And then you can even ask it to look at other books by, and you could fill in the blank with top people in your industry, if it's Joe Dispenza or Tony Robbins, or whoever it might be, and identify gaps in the marketplace, in the industry, in the book world, like what hasn't been covered. So you may get a unique angle that you're already going to be completely unique because it's your story and your methodology, but you may get some cool other things, little twists, ways to position this as relevant and urgent now. Okay. So some of you have done this already. Some of you get to do this so that you don't have to spend 8 weeks figuring out this part. You're going to have help doing it, right? We're not going to have the AI write our book. We're going to have it do the research for us and some of the positioning. And then you can even say, now please create a list of top news stories, peer-reviewed research from reputable sources, right? Not Wikipedia, not AI hallucinations, studies or other hooks that make this book urgent, relevant, and needed now. Okay. How many of you did this with us earlier in the month? You can put did it if you were able to get some nice data, statistics, really cool. Yeah, Miriam, you did it. Some of you have done this or yep, did it. Remembering that now, Rebecca. Yep. And it can help you. And it worked out fantastically for you, Lori. Great, right? Because this used to be like a week of work. Those of you doing the 90-day bestseller, if you decide you want to move forward with us and do that and work with our editors and have our team support to make sure your book gets done really efficiently and excellently in the next 3 months, I mean, you're going to have this done, right? You did it. Okay, great. So if you haven't done it yet, you can do it on the break or you can do it after we finish today, between today and tomorrow. All right? And then we just want to confirm or identify your book category. Okay. This is all the foundational work so that we can get ready to start creating our book outlines together today. All right. We're going to remind ourselves, if you've already looked at this, or you're going to identify what kind of category, or in the book world, it's called genre of book you're writing. Okay. So I'm going to whip through these because a lot of you know them. And if you don't, I want you to just like really close ear in, and even more importantly, feel in to which type of book really excites you, which type of book is going to be exciting and fun for you to write, but also equally important. It's another Venn diagram that has to overlap the kind of book that your ideal person wants to read. Right. And so I share this because some people are like, I just, I want to write a memoir. I want to write my story. But if your main goal is attracting clients to a program that you teach, I'm going to show you a model of a book, a category of book that is going to work for you better. It will be more high converting for that. You get to decide. You know what doors you want your book to open. So as everyone put doors in the chat, if you're really clear, I want us to all like anchor in what are the doors I want the book to open that we looked at a few minutes ago, so that you can, as I go through these, you can really pick the one or the hybrid of the ones that are ideal for both what you are excited to write, but also what your person needs in order to know, like, and trust you enough to move further. Okay. So a memoir is right where we tell our story, and it's written more like a novel, like in fiction. So, Diane Wilson, our client, wrote Braindance. She had a traumatic brain injury, changed the course of her life. She became a actual like neuroscientist and did neurofeedback with people. She wanted to write the story of that, how that whole evolution took place. And then she ended up turning this into a podcast and speaking at Harvard and all kinds of incredible things. Okay. So you can use your story to take the reader on a journey and create transformation for them. We can also create transformation for people writing a personal growth book. We've all read lots of these probably at this point, right? A book that is our methodology, it's some of our stories woven in, but we're really coaching people in this book. Okay? In personal growth, we're coaching someone, we're giving them action steps, we're taking them through a process. All right? So we've had many clients do this, like Diana Matuzarak, right? She wanted to take really her coaching program and take people through a process. Same with Letty Sullivan. Like, I don't just want to tell my story. I want to give people something to do, right? Letty wrote this next book after George Floyd's death. And she's like, I need to give people something to do, how to heal something unhealable, right? Some of you might be writing fiction, right? We know that just because it's a made up world, that fiction and novels can change lives, right? So we've had many clients decide, I want to tell, and this is kind of a cool thing right now that's in writing, called like a business fable. So if you are a coach or a consultant, many people like energy leadership and Get a Grip, they're written about like someone's business methodology from the standpoint of a fictional company that goes through that coach's process, right? So Christy Booker did that as a health coach. Amy Peel did that. She'd worked in transplant medicine. She wanted to write these medical thrillers, but it helped raise awareness. Okay. So for transplant, so you might decide to do that through fiction. Yeah, Mary Jo, you're writing fiction. Okay. You may be called to write a thought leader book. All right. You might be called to write a thought leader book, meaning it's a personal growth book that also brings a whole new paradigm to the world. Right? These are books that we start using a phrase from the book in everyday conversation, right? How many of you have either used the phrase the tipping point or the 4-hour work week? You've referenced it as its own thing, not just the book, but like the principle, the 4-hour work week or the tipping point or Marie Kondo's spark joy. How many of you have used one of those three phrases, right? In some capacity, you've referenced it in your mind, you've spoken about it in conversation. Yeah. Sometimes these thought leader books are personal growth books that become so ignited in the conversation that we are having that they become they become phrases that we just use. They become entities in and of themselves. I'm going to go Kondoize my closet. I'm going to see if it sparks joy. Yeah, start with why. Simon Sinek, Tiffany, exactly, right? I love Simon. He's such a great thought leader, right? So that's like a thought leader book. It's a personal growth book, but it's really bringing a whole new paradigm to the world, right? So we've had many of our authors do this by Inger Burnett Ziegler was bringing new paradigm of making mental health and therapy accessible to Black women in her community, right? Susan Goodell was bringing this, she'd been an economics writer. She was bringing her love of astrology together in this whole new way, right? Yeah, the Thought Leader Academy book, Christina, yes, that is a thought leader book, but it's also a high converting thought leader book, which I'm going to show you here in a minute. All right, that's this one. Okay, a high converting HC thought leader book. I made up this title of this genre, right? But the reason I did is because it has been the most impactful for so many of the over 1,000 people that I've coached to write their books. Because in the high converting thought leader book, it's personal growth, it's a thought leader book. You're bringing kind of a new paradigm, a new idea, but you're also embedding an interactive experience in your book so that people can go further. They get into a two-way relationship with you versus they're a reader. When people read our book, Barnes and Noble, Amazon, the only way we can impact them is through the book, which is great, but you don't get to have a relationship. Barnes and Noble doesn't call you up and say, "Oh, Jennifer Sampson from Idaho just got your book, Rebecca. Give her a call and make sure she's doing okay. Make sure she's able to implement that book." Right? How many of you want to work further with people beyond the book? Put BB beyond the book. If you want to work further as a coach, retreats, you want to invite people to workshops, you want to have a community, a membership, you want to speak to them, you want to, yes, I think almost all of us here want to work with people beyond the book, right? So if that's the case, then we don't want to leave it to chance that in a 2.9-second attention span world, someone's going to look us up, find us on social, investigate if we have a program, a way to work for. No, 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 no. We want to make this so easy in under 2.9 seconds. And you're going to see this week between today and tomorrow exactly how to do this. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. What do you put in there? How do you invite someone to work further with you in a way that's easy for them that can happen in under 2.9 seconds? So if you have an assessment, a quiz, a recipe, a calculator of something, a whatever it is, you see these books, Profit First, The Passion Test, The 5-Second Rule, The E-Myth, these books all had in the second chapter, by the second chapter, they all had a way that someone could interact and get value even beyond the book to implement what they're doing with the book. So we're going to go into that this week, right? I'm going to teach you exactly how to do it. But I just want you to see the structure here, the principle here is that you're not going to leave it to chance, right? So I recommend the High Converting Thought Leader book for anyone that wrote all of the above in the doors you want this book to open, or that you especially want the book to open the door to work further with people in some way. Okay? You can take your practice or methodology and turn it into a book. Lisa Fraley is a legal attorney. She took her law methodology and practice and she wanted to make it fun, and she lined it up with the chakra system, which is very unexpected, and it attracts her fun, cool business women, entrepreneurs that she supports. It was very easy for Lisa to write her book because she had her legal steps that she already teaches over and over and over in her practice, and she put them into her book chapters. If you're a coach, you can turn a 12-week coaching program or a 6-week coaching program or a 30-day coaching program into a book, right? Becomes very efficient. Jessica Dennis worked with us. That's exactly what she did. She had her 12-week balanced entrepreneur and she turned that into her book. If you are a speaker, how many of you are already out speaking? You give keynotes, you already teach, workshops, you do a lot of speaking of your methodology and your process. If you are, you can turn your talk into a book. You can take the steps in that talk and you just, expand it out with stories and things like we'll work on this week. And you can turn that. So Simona Spark was one of our clients English was her third language. She felt intimidated by writing a book. I can't even imagine. I write books in my native language and it's not a cakewalk. So it's a big deal. Those of you who are working on, who are, working in books not in your first language, that's a huge big deal. So Simona wanted to focus on speaking first. So we helped her get on TEDx. We got some, other stages that she got on. And then she felt really empowered in writing her book, which became a, number one bestseller. Okay. Yeah, Lacey, you're working on your speaking. Exactly. They go hand in hand. All right. It's an infinity loop. They feed each other. Okay. You can do a collaborative book where you write a chapter and you invite other people who are experts in different ways on the topic, and you have them each contribute a chapter, and you're sort of the curator and guide in the book. And this is great for people that don't want to write a whole big long book. Can still make a massive impact, or you want to include other voices in your book. My book, The Science of Getting Rich for Women, the first half is a high converting thought leader book. And the second half is a collaborative, or we could call it an interview book, because I didn't just want my story in that book. It was a book about the women's economic comeback after the pandemic, which we're still in, where women lost $800 billion. That was the catalyst for me writing that book. And I wanted 25 other self-made women millionaires to share what they did, their stories, women who didn't look like me, didn't have my background. So it may not be just you don't want to write a long book. It may be you want other voices represented in your movement, which was important to me in that book. Right. So this is a way that you could, you can also do a book very efficiently if time is a concern. You can come up with, like Tim Ferriss did, a series of interview questions, and you write a little intro, and then you have other people and you publish the interviews. And our client Perry Grossman did that. She was very, very ill with serious long haul COVID. She didn't have the energy and strength to, write the whole big book she wanted. She realized she loved hearing other people's stories, and she wanted to move her book quickly into paid speaking and her programs. And so she was able to do that book very efficiently, doing an interview series book. And this isn't a cop-out. I loved Tribe of Mentors. I loved Perry's book. They're very powerful, right? So it's not like I didn't do it. No, it can be really, if you curate that well, it's fantastic. Tim Ferriss wrote 1.5 pages and got on the New York Times bestseller list for like a year. Okay. It's pretty nice. Pretty nice return on that time, right? Okay. The quick question book is something I started teaching last year, especially those of you, if your main goal is like lead generation and client attraction for your business. You can list every question that you get asked over and over and over and over again. And you can turn each chapter into the answer to one of those big questions. And not only will that help people see you as the expert and know that you know your stuff and you have expertise, but it just instills in them exactly what they would want to come work with you on, because you've now answered their question and they're like, oh, I need to implement. I want Anne's system. I want Rose's system. I want, to learn from Lacey. Okay. But this also can be very efficient to write, because you're basically doing material that you've mastered. You answer these questions over. How many of you put O for over and over and over? If people ask you the same things about your area of expertise all the time, over and over and over, they're always asking you the same things. They all have the same. Of course, right? I could do a book like this about writing a book. What are the top 25 questions I get asked all the time about book writing? And that could be a powerful book. Now, if you want to have a big book, like you want to get on some big stages and you want to be on top podcasts and you want to do paid keynotes, I would recommend the High Converting Thought Leader book, which will answer your people's questions in and of itself. But I think this is ideal for like a real, like you're specifically using this book to generate new clients into your business. I think that's the best way to use that one. Okay. So what book are you going to write? Again, some of you are confirming and some of you are identifying. But so that we can all get excited about what each other are working on, go ahead and put in the chat what are you most like, which one, or a combination. Like I did the combo book, right? I did a high converting thought leader with interview in one book. So it can be a hybrid. Tiffany, you're going thought leader. Awesome. Yep. Miriam, thought leader. Heather, thought leader. Yep. Memoir. Yep. Christina is doing thought leader. Yep. Beautiful. No rights and wrongs. Lacey's doing a memoir. I love that. Lacey, you have such an amazing, amazing story in life. I can't wait to read it. Anna, thought leader. Some of you I've gotten to hang out with, so I know a little bit about it. Rebecca, yeah, yes. Lorraine, high converting thought leader, thought leader, thought leader. Beautiful. Awesome. Amazing. Okay. So all of they're all valid, they're all good. And it's important for us just to know which one we're doing and make sure, right, that the one you're picking is lined up with your most important goal. So, Jeff, I love this sci-fi, space opera, fantasy. So freaking fun. And your goals were creativity, happiness, and tell us your third, Jeff. Creativity, happiness, and I don't know if it was fun or joy, something awesome like that, right? So I'm guessing, Jeff, that you are a health. Okay, great. So everybody just do one final check that the book topic you've chosen and the type of book, your book genre that you've chosen best lines up with the doors that you want it to open. So I've already told you if you're in all of the above, you're going to want to do a high converting thought leader book, most likely. Sometimes I can sneak in some ways you can do it with a memoir, but that's going to be your front runner. Okay. Those of you writing fiction, if creativity and, inspiring people, those types of things, great. That's your genre. Perfect. Okay. So put me in the chat if you feel clear at this stage. I know we went through this very quickly because a lot of you have done this upfront part. You feel super clear on what you're writing, what kind of category it is, who you're writing for. And let's go ahead and start honoring these readers, okay? We're going to take just a 2-minute break, grab water, bio break. We're going to go 2 minutes. And I want, before we go, just for 2 minutes on this break, I would love to hear everybody. I would love to just see in the chat, who are you writing for? Right? Who are you writing for? Who are you writing this book for in 2026? Is it you 10 years ago, the you that needed this guidance, this wisdom, this story? Is it women entrepreneurs who are at six figures in business? Is it homeschool dads? Is it people obsessed with biohacking and health future? Okay, so I want to hear these women with no self belief. Rebecca, overeaters. Rose, yeah, Mary Jo, you just might be having a beautiful, like, hybrid book of all the things. Absolutely. Women entrepreneurs, Christina, successful women in their 40s and 50s who are asking, now what, Heather? Yes, Heather's, oh my gosh, the nurture myth. So good. So cool. Tiffany, CEO, startup founders and their teams ready to elevate agility and trust. Perfect for right now. Yes. Star seeds. Yes. I love it. Amazing. Miriam, me 10 years ago, professionals who need this to succeed without abandoning themselves. Yes. Parents and young people with mental health and AI, Sarah. Oh, thank God. Thank you. I have a teenager. Yep, super important. Thank you. The same choked woman who are remaking themselves, Debbie. Yes, you're going to free them, liberate them. Anyone who still feels lost and need to know what it means to be financially educated. Moriniki, I love that. And if I've mispronounced anyone's name, you can correct me. Okay. You can do the phonetical in the chat. Thank you. Lacey, the 19-year-old version of you who needed to hear she wasn't alone. Women in search of themselves, Mary Jo. Teens not finding their path, Rebecca. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all. Women looking for community, Lorraine. Yes. Can we take a breath and just start beaming love to your readers right now? Oh, I'm so glad, Moriniki. I'm so happy that I got that. Beautiful. Okay. We send them love. If you feel willing to close your eyes or do a soft gaze forward, right? In my new book, The Download, I've been deep, deep, deep for the last 18 months in quantum physics, entanglement theory, and wave theory, all these neat things that basically all just prove that the substrate of the universe is unconditional love. And that when one particle vibrates higher, the other particles that are joined with it, which you are going to create quantum entanglement in the best possible way with your reader, even now, even before the book is out, you can energetically do it. You can feel your love going to those readers all over the world that need this message, that need your book. Yeah. I started getting emotional too, Lacey. Your readers are in a therapist's office, a doctor's office, a coaching session. They're praying, they're meditating, they're asking for their lifeline. They're asking for their solution. They're sourcing their inspiration, their guide, their leader, their guidance. They're sourcing, they're asking, they're calling for it. I believe that when we are tapped to write a book, tapped by the universe, when that download comes of your book idea that you came here with today or that you just got clear on, it's not random, it's quantum entanglement. It's a call and response. If that sounds weird, I know entanglement can sound yucky if you're in the relationship space. That's not what we mean here, right? We're talking about we are connected. We're already connected. The minute you say yes to your book, you are already serving those people energetically. You're already changing their lives. And so, can we put our hands in together and then we'll take a quick break? Let's put our hands in together and just say, we're going to go all the way for these people, right? It's a call and response. They've called your book forth, even though there's all the other books and all the other gurus and all the other people and all the other experts. They've never heard it the way you can do it. They've never heard it the way you can say it. You got called from their call for help, right? That connection, that unification, that oneness, this is how we impact each other. All right. So let's go 5 minutes. Okay. 5 minute break. I'll put on some music and let's go just grab water, a snack, anything you need, do a stretch and just taking some deep breaths. These are so beautiful, knowing who you're all writing for. That's who we're writing for. If it gets hard or we feel overwhelmed or we think it's too much, we're going to write for that person and go all the way. All right. So let me put on a little music and we'll be back here. Let's just do it at 10 after the hour, just to make it clean time, 10 after the hour. So here we go. Music. Break. You can pop your cameras back on. If you just joined and you weren't here for the first part, welcome back in. We're so happy that we get to have this week with you, these 2 days with you. Yes, the sound wasn't coming through on Jennifer Lopez, so we'll have to do Let's Get Loud again. How ironic that the Let's Get Loud song was playing softly. That's pretty funny. So we'll correct that on our next break and we can listen to it again. All right. So let's just share in the chat what's one thing that stood out to you from part one. Again, some of you were here confirming what you know, some of you are identifying things that are coming more clear to you with your number one book idea, with who you're writing for. So just take a moment and share what's one thing And yes, if anyone asks, we are definitely sending you the replay of today and the workbook. Yep. Yep. More focus and clarity on who you're writing that for, Lacey. Beautiful. Yep. Because that's what's going to motivate us, right? When we sit down to write, it's like, oh, what am I really saying? What is this person like? No, I know who I'm writing for. I know who I'm here to serve. The whiteboard was helpful, Sarah. Great. Clearer the decisions, the stronger you feel about writing it. I feel the same, Rebecca. That's why I do this. Look, everyone that works with us in the 90-day bestseller, every book I write, I put through this same exact process we're doing today and tomorrow. Every single one. And that's why I know that the book will be a bestseller because we're putting it through all of the thinking. I used to talk about questions I get asked over and over and over. I'd get called by people in tears that were saying, oh my gosh, I wrote a whole book, I published it, and it didn't do any of the things I wanted. And I wish I'd thought about this differently. I wish I'd thought about who am I writing for and what do I want this book to do for me and how do I put it together in a way that's going to impact people the way I hope to and also create the opening of those doors that I want. And it's because we didn't do this thinking up front, right? We just think, let me start writing my book. I'm writing a book, right? And I'm so honoring of you all for being here and actually doing this foundational work, confirming it, because it will make the difference in the long haul of what this book can do for you and for others. Tiffany, you're seeing some of the reasons a book do so well is people want it. Yes, absolutely. It's a no risk way. Think about it, Tiffany, right? Instead of there are people who now don't even want to come on a workshop, right? They want to check you out with your book first. Over and over, we're seeing it with our clients. Absolutely. Absolutely. Some of you are here because we met through a book that I wrote, right? Some of the people I've worked with for 5 years are because they found my book on Amazon. And then we've ended up getting to go on an incredible journey together where they get to write books and do speaking and all these things. So way to go. Okay. Let's give each other another woo woo. All right. So we're ready now to move forward and I know some of you were messaging on the break that you can't stay the whole time. I completely understand, right? We're here together today until what are we on until 1 o'clock Eastern today and tomorrow, 10 to 1 Eastern. And those of you doing the VIP room, that's going to happen from 1 to 3. I'm going to be coaching you specifically on your book topics, helping you with your outlines, doing some more deep dive coaching and some co-working together from 1 to 3. So that's just to review the schedule because a few people messaged me at the break and asked about that. And again, if you can't stay the whole time today or tomorrow, we are sending the replay. We are giving you the workbook. And if you want to apply, we have 7 spots left as of this morning. We had 10, now we have 7 for 7 more people that know you want to write your book, finish your book, you want to bring a thought leader book out in 2026. Then those of you that want to apply, we'll share the link and if you have to leave early, you can just read more about how our methodology is, how we work together, and you can send in your application and we will contact you by tonight if we affirm that it's a great match. Okay, so you can use that link there. We will email that out to you, but if you do have to leave early, just know that that's there for you and you can apply for one of those 7 remaining spots so that we can get our whole team behind your book and you can work one-on-one with our editorial team. All right, so I'm really excited for that. I know some of you are already doing that and here and already in it. All right, so let's rub our hands together. This primes the right and left hemisphere of the brain. Let's get ready to take this forward. Okay, once we know book we're writing, once we know who it's for, once we know the structure, the genre we're going to use, we've got to figure out how to put this book together. What is going to be the spine, the architecture, the I like architecture the best, but we could say the journey of the book as well, right? This is what's going to go into building our outlines, which we're going to create today. Okay, so I'm going to show you, and this is in your workbooks as well. But let's get back where we were. Okay. All right, do we see the big orange screen, my secret book framework? Okay, awesome. So what we're talking about now, and again, some of you have done this training, so you're going to confirm, and some of you are going to identify a way to put your book together easily if you are doing a personal growth, high converting thought leader book, any of those type of genres. If you're writing fiction, it'll be a little bit different. Okay. So Jeff and Mary Jo, and some of you in your workbook, you'll have some of the fiction, you'll have the fiction outline. But this this is what helped me go from it taking me years to write a book to being able to write a book in 90 days. Now, not every book I choose to write 90 days. The one I'm finishing right now, I've taken more time because there's a tremendous amount of research that I wanted to do. And I was also discovering new material. But if you are writing a book about your topic of expertise, something you already coach on, consult on, have taught for years, have lived, then we have had many authors. I wrote one book in 6 weeks, a book that won awards, a book that did really well, a book that was high converting. 6 weeks, 90 days, several months, you can get this done. Okay. And I created this by reverse engineering 100 New York Times best-selling books. So this isn't just random. I was procrastinating from writing and I just want to read other people's books. And I decided to make it productive procrastination. And I looked at what did they all do. Okay. So if you know this already, I want you to confirm and start generating some ideas as we go through. And if you don't know this yet, I'm going to show you. It would take me years to write a book. I couldn't get them done. I just couldn't. I kept getting stuck. I got distracted. I was getting unclear. And this just kept me on task. And I love this framework. Okay. So how does it work? The letters are SSS. It's 3 parts to the framework. And hopefully you can remember SSS because my name is Sarah and you think of it as the S's. All right. So your first S is the story. Okay. If you know this, I want you to be story banking and thinking about what you're going to put in this part. Your origin story. It is so important for your reader to understand why they can trust you. This is back to what Tiffany shared in the chat a few minutes ago, right? Your story it's so important that your reader understands that you've been where they are in some way, that you have done something that they want to do, so you're going to share, just like superheroes have an origin story, you have an origin story. You are the superhero to your reader, and you are the one who has gone through something that they're going through, or you have achieved or journeyed to somewhere that they want to go. Okay. And you're going to share that story because story, it's absolutely confirmed with neuroscience. Our brains are wired for story. We remember what we're told in story 80% longer, and we take it in exponentially. It's over 50% more than just data. And we also drop from head into heart. And in a trust recession, we need to be able to make a trust ascension and trust connection. And someone needs to know. So I've had people say, "Oh, Sarah, I don't really have a story. It's not that interesting." The story of why you started your business is interesting to people. There are hundreds of podcasts about nothing else than people sharing the story of how they started their business. Right? Heather, this is a big piece of your story, right? Heather Roberts, right? This is huge. It's very interesting to people. It's inspiring to people. So it doesn't have to be Eckhart Tolle having a psychotic break on a park bench and becoming enlightened, right? We think Brendan Burchard pulled out of the wreckage in a near-death experience. It has to be this, right? Has anyone else shut themselves down from thinking like, my story isn't important. I'm not a celebrity. It's not that dramatic. It didn't involve me being, Mel Robbins, $500,000 in debt. And you know what I mean? We can really tell ourselves, we can not only censor ourselves, but we can dismiss ourselves, right? Put dismiss in this chat if you've ever dismissed, like, oh, I'm not that interesting, or I'm not famous, or I'm not this, or whatever. Yeah, some of you have done that to yourself, but you are the superhero of the book that you're writing. You are if you're a fifth grader to someone's first grader, and you did nothing more than go through the next few grades and you've learned certain reading and math, and that's like amazing to that first grader, right? So we don't want to discount the uniqueness and and frankly, sometimes those big dramatic stories are actually polarizing and create separation because people can't really, it's like, oh, well, I'm not, sitting on a park bench for 2 years enlightened, so I guess I can't probably be, a really powerful you know what I mean? It's sometimes that's actually creates distance and separation because it's so dramatic. The prince like, I was living in my car, now I have a private island. Like we hear these stories on these podcasts, and it's so extreme that it's hard to relate. If you do have a super dramatic story, then absolutely that's your authenticity and share it and it will be powerful. I love that, Sonia. So you've even learned to change. All right. So put S1 in the chat if this makes sense. You know that you get to tell your reader where you've gone, why you wanted to write this book, why you're so passionate about it, what you're going to help them do, what your credentials or lived experience are, that it's important. And I will tell you, I've had only two clients so far that have really said, I'm not writing it. I don't want to talk about myself. I don't want, and their books did not convert as well in terms of having people work further with them. And it's because we didn't make that love connection. Yeah, Tiffany, I love that. Yeah, it is tricky. But again, it doesn't have to be drama, it just has to be real. It's just like, hey, look, I learned this thing. It was really inspiring. I want to share it so you can learn it and get some freedom back or some be a better parent or whatever it is. And that's awesome. And that might relate to someone more than like, oh my God, I was in the psych ward and I mean, it's so extreme sometimes. Okay, so great job. S1, pat on the back. All right. The second thing we want to do, right? This is Mark Batterson, which I love. Every book has a story. There's a moment when an idea is conceived in the imagination of the author, and the idea is destined to become a book. Yeah, Kimberly, because we have a shared humanity. Okay, so you've all had that destiny moment. We talked about that earlier. Now, the second S, S2, is the situation, also the stakes, right? This is where we zoom out from our personal story and we show that actually what's the state of the world around your topic, right? You're one individual, and in a great book, you have both the universal and the individual and the universal, as Kimberly just suggested in the chat. This is where you make that known. You show it, you don't tell it. So if you're writing a book about, some of you mentioned you're writing a book about helping people with weight loss or loving their bodies or whatever, you can start with a statistic like 94% of women in America say they hate their bodies. That is astonishing. Where are you going to get that statistic from? The prompt I gave you earlier, right? You're going to have AI or Google help you find an astonishing statistic, some current studies and stories. What is the lay of the land around your topic? Okay, it's important for people to know, A, so they don't feel alone, right? When Mel Robbins wrote the 5 second rule, she's like, hey, I couldn't get out of bed. I was drinking too much at night. I was I was depressed. I was angry. I was being a bitch to my husband, whatever it was. Like that's her story. But when she zooms out, she might say, and you know what? 84%, Harvard Review said 84% of people push the snooze button. And then they start their day frustrated and behind and mad at themselves. And it's a vicious cycle. And then they say they push the F it button and then they don't do anything, right? You zoom out and you give a little state of the union about your topic in this book. And then we've got to give the twist, which is the stakes. This is all part of the second S. The stakes are, what happens if someone doesn't? What happens if they don't address what's going on? Some of you were talking about writing about kids and AI, and screens. I think about it a lot. My son's social schedule, if he's not with his friends, they get online and they play together. They play games. They want to play video games together. That is affecting his brain, right? And something I think about a lot. And I also need to let him be his, in his world that he came into and have friendships. And so it's like, what is the balance there? Okay. And so what we're what we're working on here is, what are the stakes? If I don't address and I say, fuck it, they all, excuse my language, but all the kids, that's what they're doing. And I Kimberly laugh. Thanks, Kimberly. Thanks for not, it just slipped out. But if I just say, whatever, well, there are stakes to that. What if I could have set up something where it's an and for him, which is obviously what we try to do, an and of like, hey, why don't you have your friends over and do a cooking project? And then you can play an hour online later, right? Like if I do, but what are the stakes if I don't do that? Like his brain is affected. Yeah, Anne's remembering those days. Yeah. Okay. So put S2 if this makes sense to you. S2, you understand that you want to give people your own story in the beginning and the journey you're going to take them on and why you're qualified to do it. But then what's the situation? What are the stakes to their marriage, to their health, to their enjoyment, to their finances, to their business, to their legacy? What are the stakes? The stakes, because that's the emotional piece. The situation you can look up on, on AI and on Google, right? And a lot of you did that work already. Okay, S2, right? So we say, I'm going to be your guide. I've been down this hole before. I know the way out. And here's the amazing journey we're going to do together. That's S1. And S2, it's like, and by the way, I'm not just some crazy anomaly. This is going on for a lot of people. You're not alone if you've also had this challenge or you have this goal and haven't achieved it yet. And here's the deal, it's not going to fix itself. It won't just resolve itself. Now, that would be a mean book if we left the reader there, right? We said, okay, see ya. You know my story. I figured it out. Here's the stakes. You're screwed. And it's really going to not only mess you up now, but in the future, right? S3, the solution. Right? We're not going to leave people there. We're going to give them the rest of our solution, our 5-step methodology, our 30-day plan, our 12-week experience, step by step, our, memoiristic journey. We're going to show them the way out. We're going to help them. We're going to coach them. We're going to lead them in some way, either through your story or through your method. The rest of your book is your S3. Put S3 in the chat if this feels good to you. It's like, yeah, now we're going to help them out. Yep. You are likely already doing this in your marketing. You're likely already doing this if you're a speaker. You're likely already doing this, but you get to do it in such a deep, intimate way in a book. Where Google research shows that people need at least 7 hours of interactive time with you to decide if they want to move forward and do more. Right? You can't get that in a 30-second reel on Instagram. You can't get that in a YouTube short. You can get that in a book. Especially an interactive book like we're going to, be building more of that interactive piece tomorrow. Okay. So the SSS, if you're writing a high converting thought leader book or personal growth book or any of those type of books, this can be your framework, right? This is going to become your outline. So if you're doing the thought leader book, chapter 1 could be your story, like we just talked about. Chapter 2 can be the situation, the stakes, right? That's addressing the problem. And this is where you can embed one of the interactive resources that I'll show you how to make tomorrow. And then you have your solution. And you can have different ways that people can interact. You might have meditations in your book or a workbook or a worksheet or visualizations or things, right? And that people can go on and do more with you and not just be a passive reader, but they're going to become a participant. And this is how we go from a inspirational book or an informational book to a transformational book, right? Put T for transformational if you are committed to your book transforming people, not just informing them, inspiring them, entertaining them, but transforming. Yes, yes, that's what we get to do. That's what the world needs right now, right? And to create a trust ascension in a trust recession, we need to like a book is the way is such a primary way that they're looking for it. All right. So if you're doing a memoir or a novel, you'll use one of the other outlines in the workbook, right? And you might use like the hero's journey, right? It's very classic where you'd have an inciting incident, and then you have a hero or a shero who really wants something and has high stakes. They're going to go through their challenges and obstacles, whether it's a true story of what you went through or a novel is a made up story. And then there's a climactic moment. Does the hero achieve it or not? And then there's a resolution or a denouement. Okay, so you're going to use a different kind of outline if you're doing a memoir or a novel than if you're doing a thought leader or personal growth or some kind of nonfiction book. Okay, so what we're going to work on now is we're going to work on outlines. Okay, promised you today we're going to be generating an outline. All right, now if you're doing a novel or a memoir, those can be very, you can do a very complex outline. I'm going to invite you to create a like overview outline, which would be called like in screenwriting a beat sheet. All right. If you're doing a nonfiction book, you can use this AI prompt that's in your workbook, and I'm going to read it to you. Okay. And then we're going to work on this right now. You can tell the AI, I just want to show you how you can use this. Again, it's not writing your book content, but it's going to expedite you having an outline. You are now a top book marketer and editor. Today, I learned Sarah Cannell's SSS book structure: story, situation slash stakes, and solution. Based on what I shared, this is if you were working on this already, because some of you have been working with us already. Based on what I shared yesterday about me and my book, please create a simple and strategic outline that highlights my story, that pulls statistics and studies about the situation, to create a need for people to read about this. And then I'll input the steps in my solution that I'd like you to break into chapters and give me suggestions of what else to include. Okay. So I just want to show you that it's in your workbook. Michelle, if you could give the workbook to everybody again, because before we do some co-working on our outlines, I want to just come together and make sure we're feeling clear. Okay. So you do not have to use AI if you don't want to, right? I write my own book outlines just because I've written a few books now, and I, coach them for so many years. So I generally just generate my own outlines. However, it can be very helpful to have AI be a thought partner for you, right? The key though is we don't want to get derivative, because AI is going to make you a book outline that sounds like everyone else's book outline, because that's all AI can do, right? Draw from what's already been done. So I'm going to give you some, Michelle, will you look in the workbook and find out what page that prompt is on? I'll put it back up on the screen also for sure. It's on page 8, I believe, but I'll put it back up on the screen. Um, so I want to just take a couple. Who has, if you're coming to VIP, I'm going to coach you on your individual outlines. But right now, who has a question? Because we're actually going to you're going to generate your book outline right now. We're going to do a wedge, and we're going to actually work on our book outlines right here. Oh, it's on page 13, Anne. Okay, maybe page 8 was the earlier prompt. All right, I'll put it back up on the screen. But first, do we have put a question in the chat if there's anything that feels like there's no way, Sarah, I can start working on an outline here because I'm lost or anything. I just want to make sure we're all going to have something really actionable to be able to work with, so we can be productive. Okay. Okay. It is on page 8. All right. Okay. All right. Good. All right. So we're good. We think, who put O for outline in the chat if you're ready to go. You're ready to start working on a book outline, whether you're going to work with your AI friend, or you're going to start just journaling on the SSSs, or you're going to, okay, so we're ready to go. All right. Yes, of course. I'm going to put it up on the, Lori, since you already have an outline, you go do, I would recommend for you to just take this time that people are working on outlines and do a writing wedge. Okay. Writing wedge is something you'll all learn in the VIP room. And Lori, if you just do a nice, like, I'm going to check in with you all in 20 minutes. And if you've already have an outline, I want you to use this time to get some writing done. Okay. I want you to start you're going to work on generating words on the page. Oh yeah, I'm pulling it back up, Heather, for sure. Yeah, sorry. I was just making sure I could see hands, because I can see you all when I come off the screen. So I just wanted to make sure if anyone was having an issue there. Okay. So you can customize this. You can change the prompt in any way you want. This is just a way to start off. And is everyone able to see it? Did it come back up on screen where it says AI prompt? You can just give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Okay, awesome. All right, let's do it. We're going to go for 20 minutes. I'm not going to play music because it's sometimes easier for me to write if I don't have music. So I'm going to leave this. I'm going to leave this prompt up, and put in the chat if you get stuck or you have a question. And I will take some questions after everyone gets going for a few minutes. Yeah, those of you that already have an outline, you're going to do a writing wedge. You're going to go work on your book. Okay. You're going to get some good writing done now. We're going to go for 20 minutes, and I want you to use either AI or your own genius to sit there and start working on your book outline. Okay. Ready, set, go. Okay, Sonia's asking if you're still working, just ignore me. If you have a question, I'm going to answer some of these. Okay, you missed the part about the writing wedge. Yeah, writing wedge, Sonia, you're just going to work on your book and get some words on the page. So if you're revising or you're writing new material, you're just going to write for the remainder of this session where everyone else is working on their outline. Oh, and sending love for the frozen pipes. Yeah. Oh, that's so challenging. Jill, will you share per the request? Oh, thank you. Yeah, if anyone wants to add VIP so I can coach you this afternoon and tomorrow, you can add that using the link for sure. You just jumped on. We are spending a few minutes working on either a book outline, or if your outline is done, you're going to spend the rest of this time getting words on the page. We call that a writing wedge. So just get as much written as you can in the remaining time that we have. I'm just going to answer a couple more questions in the chat. Sometimes we're having a screen interference, so I will fix that when that happens. Lori, you asked, do I need to join the VIP to continue if you'd like feedback? Yes, if you want interactive coaching, then you can, any of you are welcome to join us in the VIP room, which will be from 1 to 3 today and tomorrow. And you can come to one day or both days. Yeah, that's when we'll do the interactive coaching part. Absolutely. Love to see you there. Let me get our screen back up. Yeah, Rebecca, the AI doesn't know your story. So what the AI can help you do is look at the structure and basic framework, and then you will decide if you want to, share parts of your story and have the AI add that in, or if you want to not have that on AI and just be adding it in. So if you have the SSS format, right, you're gonna say, okay, I'm gonna write about my story, my experience, the journey I'm gonna take them on, the situation, the stakes. You can have the AI help you with any studies or statistics or things for that part. And then you would tell it the basics of your solution. If you have a 5-step method or a 12 weeks, or you have a whatever it is the solution is you want to take them through, and then you decide if you want to put any of your specific stories in. You could tell the AI, okay, I'll show you in a minute when we talk, or I don't know if it's the rest of today or tomorrow we do story banking. I'll show you how to start fleshing out. But right now we're going to go for a general outline, right? We need the big picture. So you just want to tell it like the steps of your solution or the key topics of your solution, and then you'll be filling in your individual stories. But right now we're just going for the big picture outline so that we know our book has a beginning, middle, end, and we know the basic components. So I can get more detail from you if that. Let me know if that helped. Okay. It gave you a great outline, right? And then, the AI, like, that's what I mean, doesn't have your soul, your heartbeat, so you'll be filling in your story. Tiffany said, question about the slide that said chapter 1 is your story, chapter 2 is the situation and stakes, and 3 is the solution. No, so Tiffany, the solution will be many chapters. So let's say you have a 12 chapter book. Chapter 1 could be your story, chapter 2 could be the situation and stakes, and then chapters 3 through 12 might be all the parts of your solution, your method, your framework, your topics 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so on. So, yep, perfect. Great questions, everybody. So let's go for one more minute on this. And just again, what we're looking for right now is the big picture outline, not a descriptive look at every single thing that's going to go in this book. I'm going to teach you how to story bank in order to start populating your outline. But we want to have right now is an idea of our, like, the architecture of our book, the spine of the book, that we know where it starts, where it goes, and where it finishes. So keep working on that for about another minute. And then I will check in for you. Check in with you. Just make sure you're breathing deeply, keeping the flow going. Okay, so put O for outline if you have a big picture outline pretty clear in your mind. Obviously, this can be refined. I do a lot of re-outlining when I write, if I'm writing a more complex book. But if you've got a general idea that feels solid of where this book starts, continues, and concludes. And if you were story banking and writing, just good job. You can come on back. Okay, so Jeff does. Yeah, Lori, often we modify our outlines, right? But we just want to have something that we can work with. Think of a living document. Okay. Yep, Sonia does. Jeff. Put T if you want a little more time on this. Obviously, you can take more time later today, of course, or in the VIP room work. Okay. Let's go ahead and take 5 more minutes. If you already are done, I want you to start looking at specific things you're going to populate into your outline. So you might be thinking about a specific client story or a moment that you had. You might be thinking about a particular framework you use. Okay. So I want you to start. We're getting a little ahead of, this is what we call story banking. Let's take a few more minutes for those that want to do a little more before we continue. And if you're story banking or writing, just keep going. Okay. Nice, Lorraine. You've got yours. Jeff's got a somewhat loose outline or ideas. Yeah. So you're just going to do some idea generation if you've got your basic outline of some things like what I know for sure is in this book is, and just start generating a list. Okay, I'm going to invite everybody to take a big deep breath wherever you are. If you're working on your outline, you're going to keep working on it. Remember, these are living documents. If you want to stretch, maybe give yourself a big stretch. All right. And so, how many of you feel like you moved your book forward doing that? Whether you're finished an outline or you've just got one started, that you feel like you made, maybe we'll say P for progress, P for progress in the chat. If you feel like you made some progress there, you feel a little more clear or a lot more clear on what this book is, what it's going to include. Okay, beautiful. That's awesome. That's awesome. And if not yet, remember, we're kind of treating today and tomorrow. I'm thinking of it as a writing retreat. This is the way I think of it. Even though we're online and we're not in person, we're really dedicating these 2 days deep diving into your book. If you're coming to the VIP session from 1 to 3, we'll be doing some more interactive, asking questions about your outline, coaching into your specific book project and goals, any of that stuff. So we'll have that interactive time. If you are, going to work on your own between now and tomorrow, that's awesome. You can take the workbook and you'll have the replay, and you can look back in and see what want to be working on outline wise. I want to teach you the story bank technique because it has, like the SSS framework, really helped me for many, many reasons, both from a mindset perspective, a time perspective, both of those things, but I think also just a pace in general. It has been a really helpful tool to use. So those of you that know SB, Storybank, you can put SB in the chat. And those of you that are going to learn it, you can activate this to really support the acceleration of the speed at which you write your book and the fun that you're going to have. So I'm going to share the neuroscience of it and also just the practical how to do it. So Storybank is a technique where I realized that when I would sit down and face a blank screen to write, it was very intimidating. Okay. It was very intimidating to just sit down and see like this blank screen or, whatever, and just be like, I don't know what to write. So even if I was willing to get myself to sit my ass in the chair and actually do some writing, then it would become this whole like, oh God, what am I even writing? And where am I? So has anyone else had this where you even finally make the time to write, you have the space to write, and then it's just like this 1,000-pound elephant of weight just feels like it goes on you and just all this like junk comes up. Okay. So I've had that many times. And so what I wanted to do was to figure out, I asked, kind of, to the universe to download for me what would be a way to take away the blank page permanently. Like, what if we could just take away the blank page? And the SSS with this is my solution to that, or what's helped me do that. So, story banking is where you would open up a notes file on your phone if you have like a notes app, or you could use a physical, you could use a physical notebook with a pen, however, wherever you want to do it. And what you're going to do is instead of starting with the blank Google Doc or Word doc of your book, you're going to start writing down the things that are going in the book, right? I just kind of hinted to that a moment ago. So you're going to just start writing down anything that you know is definitely going in this book. So I think of Oprah when she would say, "What I know for sure is." Okay. So what Oprah knows for sure is she would do that little column in her magazine a lot. So what you know for sure is you are going to tell, like, if I was writing a book about writing books, very meta. If I was going to write a book about writing a book, I know that one story that would be in that book is me in the Boston airport where I found the book that saved my life. I know that that goes in because it's the whole reason that I write books. It's the reason I coach on writing books. It's the reason why we are here today. So I know that that story is going to go in the. I'm not writing out the whole story. I'm just putting an entry in my story bank that says Boston airport book that saved my life. Okay. Then I might say, oh, I'm going to teach the SSS book framework in this book about writing a book because I want people to have an easy structure to put a book together. So I would write SSS book framework in my story bank. That's another entry in the story bank. Okay. There might be a quote that I absolutely love that I know is going at the beginning of my book. Like in my new book, The Download, there's that Nikola Tesla book that says the minute we stop studying like information and start studying the non-physical, we'll make more progress in a day than we've made in the centuries leading up to it. I'm paraphrasing, but I know like I freaking love that quote and I know it's going in the download book. And so I would put an entry in my story bank of Nikola Tesla quote about studying the non-physical. Right? That would be an example of what I would put in. So you've been story banking for 20 years, Sonia. Of course, right? Most of us do this, but maybe, Sonia, I don't know if you're like me. I used to have like note cards all over the place and like scribbles in my journals because I love the tactile nature of journals. But I do now keep it digitally. And what I do is if I want to handwrite, because I love handwriting with the colored pens, it just brings me relaxation. It also activates different parts of our brain. Then I photograph the page into the digital story bank at the end. Okay, just so I don't lose anything. Yeah, a lot of you have done it. Okay, so this is nothing new. You might already be doing it, but you're going to. I just use the one that comes free on the phone, Anna. It's the Notes app that comes for free on at least, I don't know if it's only on iPhones or Androids. Yeah, I love markers too, Debbie. They make me happy. All right, so you're going to story bank all the things you know for sure. Now, why is this powerful? Why is it important? Well, for me, it was important for a few reasons. First, you are likely going to see that you have a lot more content for this book than you already thought. So how many of you is that true for? Like if you, any of you realize like you can already think of things right now if you haven't done a story bank that you would put in your story bank, like done deal, right? Number two, the other reason that I feel like it's super helpful is that When you are getting ready now to write, it's not intimidating to us. This is the mindset piece. It's not intimidating to just make a list of stuff that's going in the book, right? It's not intimidating to us to make a list of what's going in our book. We're just thinking, this is going in, this is going in, that story, that time I did this client did this, right? And we don't have the fear of the blank page because we're not writing a book yet. We're just making a story bank, right? So it takes away that resistance and we start having a lower barrier to entry, right? James Clear calls this make it easy. It's one of his principles of habit change. We're going to make it easy, all right? So you're making it easy for yourself in the beginning. Now, the other thing it does is it primes our subconscious to start working on the book while we sleep, working on the book while we're walking the dog, working on the book while we're taking a shower. And here's what I mean. This is where I start making it intentional. It will happen anyway, because as soon as you start creating an outline, like you just either finished or began, your subconscious is already going to go to work to try to fill it. The universe abhors a vacuum, right? So this is the neuroscience part. It wants to fill something. So if you have SSS and you're like, I want to fill these S's and have, these things, your brain is already going to work on what to put in the first S, the second S, the solution chapters, all of that stuff. Okay. But then you can even make this more intentional. So what I do in the morning is I'm story banking whenever it comes to me. Throughout the day, I think of, oh, that quote or that thing, or I want to interview this person. That goes in the story bank. And your brain is already going to start assigning those entries in your story bank to sections of your book based on your outline. It's just that's why we make outlines. It's what our subconscious does. So it's already going to be telling me, oh, Sarah, that's going in the solution chapter. That's going in your initial opening story, chapter 1. That's part of the situation, section 2. Like it's going to already start assigning them. If you want to be a real nerd, who are my super achievers here? I don't even say overachievers, super achievers, right? A lot of you can, when you enter your story bank, you can assign it S1, S2, S3. You can even start telling it what to do. You can even, if you feel comfortable, use AI and you could say, hey, AI, I'm going to keep this thread open. And every time I'm going to story bank in ChatGPT or in Claude or in Perplexity, and I'm going to tell you, hey, I'm telling you another entry from my story bank. I want you to track S1, S2, S3, and I want you to, or even within your third S might have multiple chapters, it likely will, which chapter within that. So you can have the AI keep track of you, just be walking around. You just be walking around, telling it where to go in a site. If you don't want to use AI, you can do it old school like I did for the first 6 books and just do it in your phone or on a piece of paper, right? Totally cool. It will work either way. But here's the next level brain science piece that's really fun. So what I do, I'm story banking all the time, just having ideas. I have somewhere to put them now so they don't get lost. They don't clog my mental load. In the morning in the shower, I love showers. I have a really nice shower. Love getting it's a big treat for me. I'm in the shower, and showers already get us into a parasympathetic state usually, baths and showers because we relax. And then what I do is I think about what I'm going to work on that day. All right, tomorrow I'm going to teach you, or in the VIP room, I'll teach you the writing time savers, the writing wedge, the writing log, the writing schedule practice. I'll teach you my time strategies. But even now, think about in the morning, I'm in the shower and I know I'm going to write, whether it's for 20 minutes or an hour or whatever I'm going to write that day. And while I'm in there in the shower, I don't just, put the shampoo on and daydream. I say, okay, what from the story bank am I going to work on? Am I working on my first S? Am I working on the situation? Am I in one of the solution chapters? And then I specifically think about what from my story bank I'm going to go to so that I am not showing up ever to the blank page. I don't have a blank page anymore because I have a story bank that's rich with ideas and rich with content. And then in the shower, I'm not only leaving it to chance. If I only have a 20-minute writing wedge, I want to make the most of that 20 minutes. So I am going to think about in the shower which entry from my story bank, which part of the book I'm going to work on that day. So when it's time for me to open the computer, I don't have a blank page. I already know what section I'm working on. I know something from my story bank. I have my phone before I go in the shower. I kind of glance at the story bank and then I'm cooking, right? And then by the time I get to the computer, at whatever point that is, I am not I'm just like, oh, cool. I'm just writing this part. I'm writing I'm writing that section about my story. I'm writing this thing. I'm not trying to figure out all the what book and what. I'm in motion, right? This is how we create momentum. This is how we create acceleration. This is how we compound and compress and collapse time to get the books done. So who thinks this would be helpful? Some habit stack. It might not be a shower for you. It might be when you're making breakfast. It could be when you brush your teeth in the morning. You can do whatever habit stacking. Habit stacking means you take something you always do and you add a new thing to it and you put those two things together. Okay, so I just chose the shower because I always take a shower in the morning and I like it. And then I'm thinking about, so I'm not on the blank page. And I just get to start with something from the story. Like Hemingway, I don't know if this is an urban legend or true. Hemingway supposedly always ended the previous day's writing session in the middle of a sentence because then he knew he would never have to face the blank page. He would just have to finish the sentence. And once he finished the sentence, a body in motion tends to stay in motion. There's our physics again, right? And so he never let himself have to start from nothing. He just had to finish the sentence. I could finish the sentence. I picture him, in Paris at Café de Fleur, like eating his oysters and writing and whatever. And so he always knew he would have just all he had to do was finish one sentence and then he could keep going, right? So who's going to try story banking? SB in the chat. If you're going to try this, you're going to just, while you're just doing your day, doing your thing, you're going to think of things. You can dictate them into the AI. You can dictate them into notes. You can voice app it. You can do it while you're driving. I story bank while I'm driving. I have a mount in my car. I just hit record. So if I get ideas as I'm picking up my son from going to pick him up from school, I'll say, oh yeah, remember to put that in. Okay, so we're going to stay in motion. We're using brain science, we're using habit stacking, we're using, laws of physics to stay in motion with the book, and we don't have to face the blank page in the way that we would. Okay, it really, really, really has helped me because even if I don't know where it goes, some days I have so much resistance to writing. I'm like a 10 out of 10. I just don't want to because I'm scared it's going to be hard, that I don't know what I'm doing, that the book sucks. Anyone else had these days? You just don't want to deal with it because of all that stuff that goes on. So then I love this. Heather, you've gotten 6 things for your story bank while we're having this conversation. I freaking love it, right? So so this is awesome and it's going to keep coming. It's the floodgates are open as of today for all of you. They are open. And this helps me because sometimes I don't even try to put the story like into context. I'll say, all I'm going to do is open my story bank and write for 10 minutes on one of these things. Right? I have to set the bar really low on those days and be nice to myself and still get writing done. Other days I'm super psyched. I'm like, whoa, I can't wait to write this up. Yay. And it's great. But writers are classically plagued with resistance, right? There's whole books about it. The inner critic, right? If you've read the War of Art, right? The Flip of the Art of War, The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. He wrote a whole book about resistance. Okay, so we're going to be generating story banking all today, later today in the VIP room. You might wake up from a dream. You might get an idea in your sleep because once we've opened the floodgates, once we've activated this channel, and the story bank gives it a place. Remember, the universe wants to fill a vacuum. So you've got this story bank open and wants to fill it. You've got an outline and wants to fill it. And you might decide to put your outline up on a big chart. Like you might want to, like some people like to have visuals. So you could put, SSS on big wall size post-it notes, or you could do a big piece of butcher paper. You could have sticky notes that you move things around. So you have like a living, breathing wall of your book. I always think of it like a serial killer wall, like in those, those detective movies where they're drawing the cords and everything. That's how some of my book outlines have looked, right? And it's kind of fun. You can set up the detective room for your book. Or you can have it digital. I have a client, one of our clients who said, Sarah, I hate stuff in my space. And I know I get it. I'm very OCD about like clutter. So you may want to do it digitally. You can do it on a digital board, or you could do it in a Google spreadsheets and just have, SSS and start putting in the sections. Okay. So just take a little scan for yourself. Do you feel a little more empowered with this technique, knowing you've got a basic outline that the universe is already working to fill, and then no big fears if you don't want to sit down and face the blank page, you're just going to story bank. And then you're going to take one thing from the story bank at a time and you're going to write that part and decide where it goes and put it into your manuscript. Yeah, this has just helped me so, so, so much. I basically can write even on a day when I have like a 10 out of 10 resistance because of this. Okay, so good job. Let's give each other some love, some woohoos. Okay, now we're going to shift gears to do something fun because your homework tonight, between if you're coming to the VIP room, we're going to work together from 1 to 3. And everybody, before we meet back here tomorrow morning at 10 Eastern, we're all going to focus on doing working on your outline if it's not finished and story banking content for your book. Okay, that is your homework to tomorrow. We're going to do how to make the writing good, how to make it feel like a top book. We're going to talk about how to revenue generate with your book even while you're still writing. We're going to do all kinds of fun stuff tomorrow. Right now, what we're focusing on today is your outline and story banking. And we're going to do something now to take the brain science piece up a notch. And we're going to do hopefully what will feel like a fun activity, but it's also going to be a magnet for you to start speaking in the media and in podcasts and other things about your book while you're writing. Okay. So does that sound exciting to anyone? Put me if that sounds exciting. It's like, yes, I would like to start opening those doors while I'm writing or while I'm in the publication process. Yes. Okay. So I do this exercise periodically. Okay. I think this is really, really fun and important to do with every book I write. And I am going to show this to you on the screen again. So let me get back where we can see that. All right. Okay. So we were here on a prompt. All right. This is a way of using neuroscience to activate the success of your book and start opening up doors of opportunity while you're still writing. And it came in an interesting way, the way that I teach this now. So this is Parul Samani. She's one of our clients. And I was teaching Parul this technique that we've done many times in our programs called the future pull. It's essentially a technique that comes from neuro linguistic programming and other types of neuroscience based methodology where you build from a vision of where you want to go. It's a type of reverse engineering process, right? Many of us have used versions of this in our work. And so we would always teach this in our book writing programs. And Parul said to me, I met Parul when she was already really active as a thought leader, but she really knew she wanted a book because she needed that flag in the ground and she wanted to speak on really big national stages, right? So that's when she came to do this work together. And I told her about the future pull. We're going to like Buddhist style think from the end. And I explained the neuroscience. And she said that is what all the Silicon Valley engineers do. She was very active in the women in tech space. She'd spoken at Stanford and Harvard. She lived in the Bay Area, and she was really an expert in that in the tech space. And she said, Sarah, this is what the engineers at Google and all these places, this is exactly what they do. And I said, they do what? Really? And this is Perul's real life, not a vision board, but here's what they did. The engineers, when they decided to create a new product, they were going to invent a new product to bring to the marketplace, to make people's lives better, to whatever it was that they were aiming to do with their new product. Instead of starting research and development, the first thing they did before anything else is they wrote a press release for the product. Before they did anything else, they wrote a press release. And then they created a product that lived up to the promise that they made in the press release. Okay, so this is what the Buddhists have been talking about for centuries. It's what neuroscience and what I've been teaching for decades. We want to anchor the vision of where we're going so that we can then have our entire mind, our psyche, our conscious, our subconscious, it works as a magnet to draw to us to create the book that is a match to the vision. But I had no idea that engineers were doing this, and I was so fascinated. So what we're going to do now is you are going to write, and I'm so sorry, you guys, I have this weird thing happening that's going to get fixed. I don't know if it interrupted your screen, but it interrupts my screen very rudely with this AI glitch. I mean, it's a LinkedIn glitch. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to take a few minutes and you're going to write your book's press release. If you've already done this, then you might want to refine it because I often get inspired with new things I want to add. If you haven't done it for the book you're working on now, this is going to be a powerful process. Okay. What goes in a book's press release? Books press releases are real, right? When you have a book come out, Your publisher will usually generate a press release and goes out to thousands of media outlets all around the world. And there are four key components of a press release. There's a headline. Okay, this is a real press release that went out for a short story collection that I did. National Book Award nominee Sarah Cannell to release new short story collection. Okay, this isn't a made up one. This is a real one that was published. Okay. And so it has a headline. So you're going to pick something in your headline that you would love. You do not base this on what you think is possible, what you've done in the past, any of that nonsense. This is what you would love to see happen. This is your ultimate magic wand vision. Is there an award you would love your book to get? Maybe, maybe not. Is there a number of people? Legacy building author releases new book, fill in your name. Okay, you're going to think of something you want your book to do. Top keynote speaker, fill in your name, releases new book on X. Okay. Seven-figure CEO, if you're using this book to generate revenue. You're going to create a headline. And then you're going to give just a little bit about you. This is called your bio, your biography. Now, you are not writing it based on the you now. You are writing it for the you that has fulfilled your full vision of this book. So if that's, again, any kind of impact numbers that you've reached, any kind of audience size, any kind of revenue, any kind of lives change, you're going to just put a little couple sentences about you, not you now, the you that you are stepping into today with your book. Part 3 of 4 components of the press release is a little bit about the book, right? What's it about? What will the reader learn? And then the final 4th part in a press release are what we call book blurbs, endorsements. Have you seen those before? Like, Elizabeth Gilbert will write on the top of Mel Robbins' book, "This is the best personal growth book I've read all year." Stephen King will write, "This book scared the shit out of me," on someone's horror novel, right? So it's like a famous person says something awesome about your book, and you could make $1 million off a great book endorsement, right? So who are the people, not that you already know, who are the people you would love to be endorsing? You would be doing jumping jacks. You'd be running around like around your house like Home Alone kid, right? Like Kevin from Home Alone. Right? You're so excited. Okay. So you're going to think of a couple people that you would love to endorse your book, and you're going to make up something awesome they would say about it that you would just be like out of your mind, so excited. Okay. 4 components of the book press release: inspiring headline, little bio about you, the you that you're becoming, the you that's done the next level things, what the book's about, key takeaway, key benefit to the reader, and some awesome endorsements. 4 sections. Now, when I used to teach this, we'd all spend a bunch of time writing it, and you can do that. You can also, right? This is in your workbook. I have the sections about it, about the author, all the things. Or did I put it in here? This is my new one for the download that went out, that I put an example of for you guys to read. I had written a future pull, like fake press release for my next book. And when the actual press release went out for the book that's coming out, they actually used, I never got to see this, by the way. This just showed up. The publisher said, here, this is the press release. And they actually used the words that I had used in the one that I created. Groundbreaking, visionary. I couldn't have begged for someone to write a better press release, and it just happened, right? It was absolutely phenomenal. Why? Because I did this exercise that you're doing right now. Okay, so it sounds like fantasy, it sounds like make-believe. You guys, it's science. Okay, here's a prompt. You could have the AI write your press release right now. Okay, so what we're going to do for 5 minutes is either you're going to use this prompt and have your AI write you a book press release. You can use that same thread you've been using, so it already knows about you and your book and your expertise and those things you did earlier, or you can tell it. Or you're going to start writing it. You can pick out your headline, or you can write an endorsement from Oprah or Brene Brown or someone that you would love to endorse your book. Okay, we're going to just take a couple minutes, and I want you to either start, if you're not using AI, to write a press release, or have the AI write you a press release for your book that is beyond your wildest dreams. Okay, put everything in there you would love to hear. Before we do this, I want to ask in the chat, who is one person you're going to create to endorse your book? Who is one incredible leader that you are going to have create this blurb for you, this book endorsement. I want to see who you're all calling in. Drew Barrymore, awesome, fun, Debbie. Mel Robbins, John Barnes, Oprah. I love seeing this. I love seeing it. John Kabat-Zinn, cool, Lisa. Michelle Obama and Brene Brown, Tiffany, amazing, amazing. Okay, so let's go for it. Eckhart Tolle, I love it. So you guys know what we're doing. Okay, so you are going to either tell your AI, here's the kind of headline I want. Here's what my book's about. Here's the people I want to endorse me. Write an incredible blurb. Um, you know, uh, here's the big what the book's about and the key takeaway. Okay, let's just try this for a few minutes, and then I'm going to check back in. Right? This is not just make believe. This is becoming a magnet to draw success to you and this book. Ready, set, go. Okay, we're going to go for 2 more minutes on your press release. Again, you might just want to work on the headline or the blurbs, or if you're using AI, you can get the whole thing done for you right now. Okay, let me see a P in the chat for anyone who made some progress on their press release. And F if you actually finished one, if you had the AI write one for you, and I want to hear about that. Okay, so made some progress. Some of you have one finished. Progress. Okay. Okay, so lots of progress. A couple people have finished ones. Amazing. If you're writing it yourself, right, you're going to take some more time and just do it in sections. And that's going to be one of your homeworks. So, homework between today and tomorrow, either after VIP or tomorrow in the main session, you're going to have worked on your outline, ideally having a finished big picture outline, story bank, the things you know that are going to come to you in these next hours that are going in your book. And you will have done a press release or at least a couple of blurbs with your headline. Okay. So, what would be one word, those of you that either, made progress on it or finished it, which I think is everybody, what is your takeaway from that? Was it fun? Was it weird? Was it interesting? How do you feel when you envision these great, amazing, masterful thought leaders blurbing your book, when you hear the incredible achievement and impact that this book is making? Okay, so fun, focused, lighter, excited, energizing, unbelievable, emotional, empowering to create this vacuum. Yes, right? This is not, again, just us at tea party dressed up, even though that's fun, right? This is a neuroscience based device that top Silicon Valley engineers use that is a proven process. When we create the vision and think from the end, it works as a magnet to draw out our genius and greatness, as well as everything we need around us, people, places, and things that are going to help us make this book a reality. Okay. So it also is going to help you articulate. Did anyone feel like the little summary of what the book's about and what it will do for, did anyone feel like that even helps give you a way if someone says, "What's your book about?" that you might be like, instead of going, or what I used to do, ramble for 5 minutes and then people's eyes glaze over, like, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about, right? Has anyone else done that ever? That's been me, right? So did this give you, let's put focus in the chat if it gave you some focus on even a way to, and you can even go a step further and say, hey, AI, give me a statement about this book when people ask that's really compelling and exciting when people say, what's your book about? Like, give me a way to describe this. So we're going to, keep working on that messaging stuff tomorrow. Okay, amazing. I love that. Yay, give yourself some love. That is awesome. That is awesome. Okay, so what I want to talk about now is what happened for me is that there came a point when I finally did start writing a little bit. I was actually able to get some words on the page instead of just fantasizing about writing and wanting to write and then not writing. Okay. So that was a first big milestone, was actually becoming like someone who actually started doing some writing. David Sedaris, a favorite writer of mine, said he became a writer when he started writing and stopped drinking about it. Now, I luckily wasn't drinking about it, but I was just fantasizing and reading other people's books and going to bookstores and getting a perfect pen, lighting a candle, making sure that, no one was bothering me. Like, all this stuff had to happen for me. It was like taking a spacecraft into the Earth's atmosphere for me to write. It was like unbelievable what had to happen. The vectors that had to line up was ridiculous. And I got very little writing done, right? So then I finally started I'm glad you guys can laugh with me. You can laugh at me too. It is ridiculous, but that's where I was for a really long time, like 2 decades. Then I started actually being able to generate some work, and I even began to envision what I would love to see happen. I envisioned, I had that book that had saved my life burning in me. I had a why of the way I wanted to be able to give impact and pay that gift forward. But the problem was that I still felt like there was an absolute black hole of a canyon between me, where I was then, and having a best-selling book out in the world. So if you can relate, put R, if you can relate to that. Like, it just feels like so far from this moment, even with an outline, even with a press release, to holding. Some of you have done books already. So, okay, but some of us feel a gap. I felt a big gap. And I'm talking like gigantic billboard size GAP. Okay, that was the gap I felt. So So what I did is, of course, I procrastinated from writing and I went and researched 100 authors that I admired. And I found out, what did they do? How the hell were they able to get words on the page, get a book to market, make an impact on so many lives, change my life? Like, how did they do it? And I was looking for the common denominators. And I discovered that they all did three things. There were three things that every single one of these people did. I didn't look for outliers, like I don't eat white food or I live, under a rock in the wood. I wasn't looking for that. I was looking for, what did they all do? And they all really had three things that they had put in place. The first was, they all had some kind of a strategy, like they had some kind of a professional plan for getting the book written and making it good and getting it published, right? They all had some kind of an actual like professional strategy that they had learned or were using. Okay. Number two, they all had some kind of a mentor. Okay. They all had either a coach, an editor, a publisher that was really helpful for them, a teacher, a friend that was working. Like everyone had, like none of them, not a one, not a single one, as isolating as writing is, just did their book and slapped it into the world. And that was it. Not a single one, not the greatest geniuses in the world. None of them. And number three, even more than just a mentor or a teacher or a coach, someone, they all had a community. They were in community, even if they were very hermetic and lived in the woods, where they all were sending writing back and forth. They were in community. They were connecting with other people who were writing books. And while this may seem like it should have been the most obvious freaking thing in the entire world, I did not have any of those things in my life. Right. And so it dawned on me that if I wanted to have a best-selling book and I wanted to be a prolific author and I wanted to pay the gift forward of that book that saved my life, that I was going to need to have some kind of a roadmap. I was going to need to have some kind of mentorship, an editor or someone that knew more about writing than I did to help make the book good and take me all the way and help me be accountable. And I needed to have some kind of, I needed to be in the room, virtual or otherwise, of people doing this. And I call this like the three families. We have a family of origin. That's who we were born into, right? We might have a family of choice, might be the same, might be friends. But I didn't know that we all also, in order to be truly great thought leaders and make a difference in the world the way that I knew I wanted to, is we needed a family of success. That's the third thing. And it didn't mean like ignoring my other fun friends that weren't doing this, or my family, or it wasn't about abandoning anyone, but I needed to add that third family. I needed to be in community with people who were committed to doing what I wanted to do, which is to write incredible books that change lives and to generate incredible abundance with that, right? We call this like the business behind the book. And that was a huge turning point for me. And it was the origin to why we've created everything we do in our 90-day bestseller program, in our Monetize Your Book Club, and all those things, because I realized I didn't want to. I didn't want to have a coach. I didn't want anything. But I was not getting it done. I even got introduced to an agent and I couldn't do the revisions she asked me because I was just trying to do it by myself. And writing is a team sport. I had no freaking idea. It was a shock to me. Shouldn't have been. It was. So that is what created, that's what inspired this workshop, the work we're doing here, the methodologies, everything we do in 90-day bestseller, which is where, again, what are we doing there? We're using a proven structure and strategy with a one-on-one coach and mentor, right? A member of our team. I needed an editor. I needed someone who knew what they were doing to be able to walk me through, not only to be accountable, but to actually professionally edit my book. And then I needed to have a community of success people that were going to play big. They were going to play big as thought leaders. They were going to really stand with the stuff we talked about at the very beginning of today and be the real deal and make an impact and change lives in a time, especially when people need it, right? So that's what became the foundation for everything that we teach in all this thought leadership work. So I'm sharing that because I kept for 2 decades to become a published writer, and I couldn't get there. I couldn't get there to even finish the books. I didn't know how to get them out in the world. I didn't know how to have them make an impact. I didn't know how to have them generate revenue. So yeah, some of you can relate, right? And some of you have worked with editors and know how valuable that is, right? And you know how just to have a coach and have an editor and have someone with you. So those of you, we've already told you all that came in, and some of you, were with us before. We have 7 spots left right now for people that are fully committed to doing their book this year in the first part of the year. And we have applications open for the 90-day bestseller right now. And if you want to apply, then you can, well, Michelle, if you can share the link, you can read a little more about how it works. You can apply. It's just an application. There's nothing, you're not paying. You're just like getting to read about it and decide if this is what you want. You want to have a proven strategy. You want to have the mentorship of a one-on-one coach and editor, and you want to have our team and our community to do this together. And to make sure, think about it right now. It's January, right? It's January 27th. If you do your book in the next 90 days, or you can take 6 months, whatever you want, you can have your book done. Who wants to put it in the chat? Who's good at time math, right? Right? What is it going to be, right? Feb, March, April, right? You can have your book done at the end of April, and your book can come out in the world and start changing your life and everyone's life this year. Yeah, Audrey, you're like, when you're in the room, it's not even normal. It's like you go to Hogwarts, right? We're not with the muggles. We're like with people who are like, I'm a thought leader, I'm committed, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it. Okay. So I want you to put in the chat what resonated for you in that. Like is there anything in that that has not been in place for you? Some of you already have all this, right? You have a strategy of exactly how to write a book, how to have it open the doors you want, how to monetize it. You have that already. Some of you have an editor, you have a coach, you have that in place, you have a teacher guide, and you are in a community, right? Some of you might be like me who I didn't have it. Yeah, Rebecca, my book that I'm writing now, I took a much longer timeline because there was a ton of research. So obviously, everything we do in the 90-day bestseller will be customized to your timeline. So we call it that because if you want to do a book on your expertise, you can get it done in under 3 months. If you're like, I need a year, I need 6 months, of course, you could just apply and tell us because we'll customize. Everything is one-on-one with, you'll have your own writing coach and editor. Yeah, it is your heart's desire to get this done, Debbie. You get to. You absolutely get to. So just know we will expand or contract the timeline for each of you. That's why this is not group. Even though there's a community, right? We have write-ins, couple Tuesdays every month. You have our whole framework. You're in the Monetize Your Book Club. Okay? That those of you that have a book, you might just want to be in the club. Because the Monetize Your Book Club is like, what do you do with the book after it's out? How do you have it get you speaking engagements? How do you get in the media? How do you get book sponsors? How do you go on a book tour? How do you generate revenue with your book? How do you let your book lead to retreats or memberships or your coaching programs, right? So I am so obsessed with us having an ROI on your book. Yeah, Heather, let me message you after to talk about when's the ideal because you've got book number 1, right? Heather's having twins, Irish twins, right? I love it. I'm gonna have so Audrey, you just mentioned this became normal for you, right? Do you want to unmute and share for a moment and just share, let's have you come up and just share a little bit about so Audrey did this is our foundational training for everyone we work with. Everything we're doing today and tomorrow is our foundational training. Audrey, you finished book number 2. It's coming out in 2026. Okay, so tell us a little bit about, can you think back to when you did this training?
Yeah, I actually can. When you did the write your
Oh, the press release?
press release, like I came across that the other day and I was like, oh my God, I remember. It was like,
Yes.
I guess it was like 3 years ago now. I've been in the community 3 years.
Yeah. Well, because you came, right. So you did book number 1. You wrote the draft in 11 weeks. So I just want you guys to know tomorrow we'll talk more about time. But when we say 90 days, Rebecca, if you're doing research heavier on my timeline, right? You and I will be on our own timeline with this. But Audrey, you were writing the book as you've been an accountant, you've been a fractional CFO, chief financial officer, you help people in women. She Grows Rich is Audrey's first book. And so
Back there.
yeah. So what were like you were here, you're hearing 90 days, like what were you feeling about that round 1? Because I know book 2, we'll talk about what was different in book 2.
So round one, what was ideal for me, was being in the community, like, because like being around people that are doing it is just so helpful. And then when your friends are like, "Oh my God, you wrote a book." Right? I'm like, yeah. So, because you surround yourself and people that are doing the same thing, which is amazing. But going back to the timing, the first book I wrote, I just blocked down an hour every single morning and just turned all my notifications off. I, put on neuro beats music and I just wrote for an hour every single day. Then I went and did my CFO work
Yeah.
after that. So I wasn't writing all day long or any
Yeah.
of that. I just blocked an hour out in the morning
Yeah.
to totally like focus on that. And I got it done in 11 weeks. And yeah, it was amazing.
And so you obviously didn't hate this experience because you just wrote book number two, which is coming out this spring. So what happened with book one that made you want to write another? Like what were some of we talked today about, the doors people what doors did you want the book to open? And let's talk about what doors have opened for you.
I've been on a ton of podcasts. Like some podcasts you can't even get on unless you have a book,
Yep.
which, is been really cool. I'm not into the keynote speaking, but I know
Yeah.
a lot of the people in the community are.
Yeah.
But yeah, just having the book just opened so many doors. And just as you said, and you don't even realize it, like I didn't realize it till after the book was published, that the first book was published, like it is your flag in the ground. And I was just like, oh, I get what she's saying now. Like the
It's like,
flag in the
you know
ground.
what the Yeah. Well, so you wrote a second one, and what's your vision for this book? Like, are there new doors you wanted to open? You also wrote this one pretty fast. Was it similar 11 weeks? Remind me because I have to,
Yes, it was. I had the first, well, it was even actually faster if you want to talk about, because I didn't do the editing until after I wrote the first draft.
yeah.
With this one, I wanted to come from a different voice. So I
Mhm.
thought it was really important to bring the editor in early. I wanted to come from like you're a badass Jen Sincero voice.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that I had that voice keyed in. So I brought the editor in really early, and
Yeah.
I actually had it edited and written in 12 weeks.
Yeah.
So
Including
like
revision. Yeah.
which was great. And I did, and the second one was so much easier. So,
It does get easier, right? Right? It's muscle memory. It's
yeah,
it's it's harder, even though again, I'm on seven. There's parts. This book has been so uncomfortable because it's all new material, right? So all
right.
of you knowing if you're writing on the thing you've done for so long, it's going to feel awesome and challenging in its own ways. And then if you're writing about a new thing that you're being called to, that you're both exploring, investigating, creating as you go, like some of us are, both are, interesting, challenging, cool,
Thank you.
exciting in different ways. So Audrey, what are the doors you want this one to open? Are there any things you're putting on that new press release?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to do another podcast tour
Mhm.
after this one comes out.
Yep.
I'm starting a podcast myself
Yeah.
after after really wanting to make a difference with women and their financial future. So yeah, I mean, I guess I don't fully know, but what
Yeah.
I was just really excited to write this one. I feel like you talk about download. I feel like this book was primarily downloaded. It was, like I said, it was easier. I was like in the flow more. And it was just like, it, as you say, the book wrote me.
Yeah. Yeah. We end up living the book, writing the book. And so I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited. Can you let's drop the link to your first book. If you want to see Audrey's first book, She Grows Rich, right, which is Audrey's methodology around their personal finances, Audrey.
Personal
Yeah.
finance. Yeah. How I
Right. So
grew my wealth from nothing to multi seven figure net worth.
right. So this is your like net worth building book from this ground up another self-made woman multimillionaire. I love it. And then the new book is like you said, it's sort of a Jen Sincero kind of fun, feisty Amanda Francis, like you're a badass with money book
Yeah.
that is going to be so exciting. And you did the audiobook, so I can't wait to listen to it on
I
audio.
yes, I'm doing simultaneous. Well, I did the She Grows Rich audiobook, and as soon as I finished that, I went into You Are an Abundant Bee audiobook right away. And
Yeah.
so I can release You Are an Abundant Bee, the No BS Guide to Manifesting is book 2. So everybody
Yes.
knows what that is. We didn't really mention that. So I went and did that while the book 2 is at publishing. I actually am recording
Yeah.
audiobook so they both can come out at the same time. And I was
Yep.
kind of like in the groove
Yeah.
doing the audiobook, and again, like the first book audiobook was like harder than and then the second one was easier and funner.
So great. I love they could be fun. Who else was like Jeff? Someone else talking about fun today. Okay. Well, congratulations. We have the link to Audrey's book there. If you all want to see and see what it looked like that Audrey was able to put it together in this frame of mind. Again, if you're writing a novel, a memoir, a research heavy book, it's going to be a longer timeline. And of course, we'll customize that for you. But Audrey, I'm so excited for you. Congratulations on your being a
Thanks, Sarah.
badass. And you recreated your whole business model,
Yeah.
around this work you want to do, and brought in even more of the neuroscience pieces, and it's so exciting. And I cannot wait to hear book 2 and read it and hear it. I'm one of those crazy people, as anyone else, where I buy the physical book and I get the audiobook. When I love a book, I get both because I like writing in the books, and I also want to be able, if I'm in the car or something, to if I'm not doing my story bag. So Audrey, congratulations! It's
Thank
so
you. I'm so
exciting.
excited. I can't
We'll
wait
have
for
you.
number 2 to come out. I'm
I
building
know.
the book portal right now. It should be done by the end of the week.
Yes.
I wish I would have had it for this session, but
Oh my
next time.
God. Next time. Well, I'm gonna teach book portals tomorrow. So that's great. Those
Oh,
everyone,
cool.
if what Audrey's talking about is we teach a way. Remember, we want to take someone to be from a reader to be in a two-way relationship with you. And so it's super exciting to get to we'll show you some book portals tomorrow, some that we've done. And Chris, you did a book portal. I'm gonna also Chris Williams is here. Everyone give love to Audrey and give love to Chris. I just was so grateful to have both of you jump on and share a little bit about you've done it, you've done this training, you've written a book. Chris, you're a best-selling author now. Audrey, you hit bestseller, and you did a book portal. It's interactive. So, Chris, tell everyone the name of your book, and then let's talk about the doors you wanted it to open and what's happening.
Sure. Yeah. So the name of my book is called The Soulful Abundance System. And it actually came out of the work that I created back in 2018, which was the system that I teach health coaches, life coaches, and holistic practitioners to grow a beautiful boutique 6-figure and beyond business. And it shares a little bit of my story after, being married for 17 years, starting from scratch, $25 in my bank account, to creating over $3 million in my business. And so felt really important to take this work that I had been teaching and actually get it in book format to get it into more hands so that
Yeah.
more practitioners and coaches and heart-centered leaders, could have a framework that we've seen is worked over and over and over again that was based on timeless principles and relationships. Yeah.
And Chris, I want to point this out to everyone. Like, remember, we worked today on who we're writing this book for,
Hmm.
right? Remember earlier, everybody we worked on, like, who are you writing this book for? And Chris, you know that you're here as a stand. You could help everyone and people who are wellness practitioners like you. You were a massage therapist, you were trained as a health coach, or nutrition training, and sometimes so many people get a certification and they don't know how then to do anything with it. It's kind of like how people, we don't know how to get book ROI. We don't know how to get certification ROI. Chris, and you've really stood for all the people who are doing this amazing Reiki and acupuncture and healing work and massage and nutrition and health coaching and all these things. And you help them prosper and be well and have recovery time and not burn out and not doing it in a bro way. And so we've got Chris's book here in the chat. Thanks, Michelle. And so, Chris, what are some of the things that have been fun for you because you were already teaching this?
Yeah.
You already been teaching this. You took what you were living and teaching for years and then wrote the book about it. And so what's been different, if anything, because you now have a book?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's just been incredible. I mean, the work that's just created more opportunity to get this into more hands. So, like Audrey, I've been asked to be on podcasts. I've been on several covers of a magazine now.
Yeah.
I have been asked to be on summits. I've actually had multiple companies ask me to come in and talk to their students. So, Functional Nutrition Association, certification programs that certify health coaches, life coaches, menopause coaches. I've been asked to be guest experts inside of their programs now to teach the foundational pieces, and it's just been so great to actually see my work be not only embraced, but also be utilized in multiple ways, right? Outside of the main program, but in all of these other ways that are actually helping people really understand this. Because I didn't have this when I started. Like I had no idea. Literally had one client the first year. I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like, how do
Yeah.
I do this? I have the certification. What do I do? And so
Yeah.
it just felt so important to me that more women didn't have to struggle with this for as long as I had to struggle with it. And I felt if I can collapse the timeline and get this information into more hands, I felt like that was making a bigger impact.
It's so exciting. And getting,
Yeah.
was there anything, we've heard this from some people, but Chris, you were so steeped in the work. Audrey, same with you for first book, so you can add in the chat. Like, did it do anything for you in terms of your level of mastery around your work and talking about it, or does it feel the same there? Because some people are right. Some of you are here today because you are like Chris and Audrey, you've been doing your thing and
Mhm.
you're feeling called to write a book so more people can have all the benefits and impact. And some of you are actually going to use the book to figure out your thing, and
Yeah.
then build a
Yeah.
business
Yeah.
with it.
Works
So,
both
Chris,
ways.
anything different on that?
Yeah, it actually really affirmed how important the work was that I was doing. I think we can get lost in our own head and think, well, this surely everybody knows this.
Right.
Surely this isn't that big of a deal. And
Mhm.
as I was writing it and working with my editor and getting feedback on it and being able to weave, personal stories that to me just felt like normal life.
Yeah.
And to actually have people reach back out to me and say, thank you for sharing that. Like that was really, impactful for me. So yeah,
Mhm.
it not only helped me feel much more confident in my own thought leadership, but it allowed me to really feel, how important this was to continue to share this
Mhm.
and to continue to bring it to multiple, places,
Yeah.
whether it's on podcasts or whether it is teaching workshops. That has been super fun. I love to teach workshops. I love to actually do the book with people.
Yes.
We actually just did this in January called the Abundant Coach Code, where we walked everybody through the 6 steps for free. And it's just fun to be able to do that and to feel so confident and empowered that, nope, this is important. And
Yeah.
I just get to share this.
I love it. I'm so excited for you, Chris. And I know it's only the beginning, for both you and Audrey. And can you
Yeah.
both put like, and Audrey, you can weigh in, and we're gonna conclude. And those of you coming to VIP, we're gonna get into some coaching here in just a minute. But for Audrey and Chris, was there any part of you that thought you couldn't do it? Because I already shared very transparently. So
Totally.
what was the like message, the gremlin message? Because this is something we're gonna blast in the VIP room today and more tomorrow. Like I knew I had very specific, scary gremlin messages that were saying why I couldn't do it. So, Chris, was there anything like that for you?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I remember when I first, like, it's such a visceral moment. I remember I was in Florida and I was visiting my family, and I actually told my mom that I was going to write a book. I'm like, oh, I signed up. I'm going to write a book. And she's like, you're going to write a book? And there was just like this, you
Yeah.
know, lack of, I don't know, confidence that I could do this because I haven't ever done it before. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to write a book. Yes. And now I'm like, I got another one that we're just finishing up, and book
Yes.
three is on the way. And I'm like, now I
Yep.
can say, well, I am a writer. I am an author.
Yeah.
And yeah. So, but yeah, in the beginning, I was like, and it actually did take me a little bit longer because I did have those gremlins saying,
Yeah.
you got to really focus on this, and you're not really a writer, and you don't really know what to do, and you don't know how to put the stories together, and you don't know how
Yeah.
to put the framework. And that's where the editor was just so incredibly important for
Right.
me. And
Right.
your stays process and all of the other things that actually guide you through how to do it. Because I'm good with like writing short snippets. I felt like, I could be a writer that way, but I didn't feel like I had the confidence that I could actually pull together an entire book.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris, it's been such a joy and honor and privilege to see because, of course, I knew you could, right? And it's just been awesome to see where this is taking you. And again, you've got two more on the way, right? You're going to have
Yeah.
you're going to have your deck and you've got a devotional. I mean, it's so
Yes.
like, that's the thing. You do one once and then you're hooked, right? So I love it. I love it. Thank you, Chris. And Audrey, how about you? I know you came from financial background, so
Well, yeah, that was probably the biggest thing. Like, I'm a logical person. I'm not a creative. I don't know how to write. Like, who am I to write a book?
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Yeah.
like, you were very good at helping us get over those gremlins for sure. And the editors that you have are amazing, and just they are so gentle. I want to
Mhm.
say, like, they're not here to like criticize,
Yeah.
or like they're not there to they're you have them to help.
Yeah.
And the editors that you have are so amazing. I mean, I had one editor for both books,
Yeah.
Mary, and she was amazing. But I hear everybody inside the community saying all the editors are so amazing. And they're just, I mean, Mary was very gentle with me,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
very, and I was like, you're afraid, oh, she's going to tell me I'm a horrible writer, you know?
It's scary. Okay, everyone do your fear scale if you haven't worked with an editor before, you haven't recently. Like one is I don't feel fear at all about showing my work and getting feedback. And a 10 is like I feel like I'm gonna pass out because it's so sad. Like I'm waiting for final revisions from my editor for the new book and I'm scared. Okay. It's like 7 books in. Yeah. Anyone else? I'm an 11 on a 10 empath scale. I am insanely sensitive. I cannot so we've trained all our editors. They're trauma informed. They are coaches, and they're also brilliant professional editors with PhDs or degrees from Harvard and places, and they're brilliant. But like everyone, that's why I can't work with only an editor. Our team are coaches and editors in one, and that was really important to me for like both of you. I am just super effing sensitive. I want the truth. I want to make the book good, but if someone is harsh or I only hear negativity, I shut down. And so this is just, yeah, it's super important. I'm so glad. You guys are just rocking it. I love books 2, books 3 are coming. Thank you for taking a few minutes with us. What did you all hear in Chris? I know people were commenting in the chat. We've got both, get Chris's book, get Audrey's book, so you can see what these look like. And then maybe put in the chat what you're taking away from Audrey and Chris's story. What did you hear that maybe helped you cement something, or you could do the I am one with that. Maybe you want to be on a podcast tour. These are both multi-now best-selling authors going into, multi-millions of business generated. Yeah, it brought you peace to hear it, Debbie, that you're not alone. Yeah, exactly. Getting started, there's actual help. Yep. I couldn't do it by myself. I couldn't. There's no way. Yep. Yep, that they each had something, Miriam, where they could take people after. Miriam, I just realized you're Sarah without an H. Okay, we're twins. I love that. Where we got Sarah Power. I didn't see your middle name. Yeah, they had somewhere to bring people. That's what we're going to work on tomorrow. Revenue generation, monetizing, so that the investment you make in your book gets to not only just return equal, but exponential for the rest of your life. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm so grateful, Audrey and Chris. Let's give love. We'll make sure you all get their links with the replay to their books as well as in here. Those of you who are coming to VIP will be over there in just about a minute, about 90 seconds. That's the link is in your Zoom, or the Zoom link for the VIP session is in your email. If you need any help with it, Michelle, just put your direct email, care@sarahcannell.com. If you have any trouble getting into the VIP room, we'll get you in. If you want to come because you want some coaching, you can add it right now. And make sure to fill out your application if you want to talk to us about being one of the 7 more people that we are having come into the 90-day bestseller, and have the editors like Audrey and Chris just talked about work one-on-one with you. And obviously with me, with Amy, Michelle, and our team, we're really, really, really excited. Yes, exactly. Thanks, Chris. So if you're coming to VIP, I'll see you in a moment. If you are concluding for today, we'll be on at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. And what your homework, remember, is completing your big picture outline, doing some story banking as you're walking around doing your other stuff, and then finishing your press release so that you activate, using neuroscience, the magnet for those opportunities and your own confidence and clarity about your book. All right. So there's a link if you want to join us in VIP now. I will see you either in 90 seconds or tomorrow. Thank you, Chris and Audrey. Thank you all. Great job, everyone, today. You did amazing. All right. Bye.